Come on, you big baby. All right, I'm ready.
Yes, I hear little pitter patters in the background.
Oh yeah. I'm dog sitting, so I got a big ass pit bull in here, but he's a big old baby. I believe he's like
Mm,
11 years old. So he's me and him been hanging out for the last couple of days.
okay, here, let me fix this one last thing.
Hmm.
Public.
Shamanique, what's up? I see you in here. This is not our usual time, but there's a fight tonight, and this is the reason why we're coming on a little bit early today. So everybody who is interested in the boxing match can watch the boxing match and all the preliminary fights. So we don't have to run into conflict with it.
Yeah,
And
I mean
want to.
that's something that we've just been me and Chris have kind of came to a consensus on, um because we noticed that a lot of times, well, we do, a lot of our audience are fight fans, as are we. And
Hmm.
I think that it just makes it more convenient that we don't make them have to choose. And I know a lot of our regular listeners would prefer to be here, in the conversation live, instead of catching it on the replay. Even though we would much love to all y'all who do come and catch us on the replays. Let me fix that real quick. But ugh, I was like, why is my bar back here leaning? Got little legs to put up on there. Yeah, so yeah, there we go. So now I imagine some people are going to be a little thrown off, like, what the hell? You
Exactly,
guys
like
are
you
on
guys are
right
on
now.
during the daytime.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to do that, and you know how sometimes we will switch it to a Sunday instead, but I got a lot of stuff planned. Well, I mean, got stuff going on Sunday, so I figured, what should we do? I don't want to go without a show, so I wanted to definitely do it. I figured we'll just do it a little early. Um, and as you guys can see, we got a bunch of different topics to get into, but before we get into those main topics, I figure I would drop a little bit of, some of the stuff that's been going on, um different news stories that are going on out there that um are not being talked about, or just some current events that we haven't really missed. Baba says good afternoon. Good afternoon also to
Hey,
you.
Baba, what's up?
um I want to throw my condolences first off to the James Earl Jones family. A big hitter. That's why I wore my one of my Star Wars shirts. A shout out to James Earl Jones, um, great legend and pioneer. And I just found out also, singer Frankie Beverly just passed away.
Yeah, man. Uh, that one. If I don't know about too many. I won't assume anything about people in the chat, but if
I'll
you
say people of our age and our demographic, definitely, you know, this one's a big one.
yeah, we know who Frankie Beverly is, and you most likely have heard his name, Frankie Beverly and Mays. Actually, they've been on the road for the last decade or two, just putting in work and letting everybody know that they won't be forgotten. They have many a hits, many a good songs.
Hmm.
If you grew up in a certain time period, and your parents were cleaning on a Saturday morning, there's a good chance maybe that song came on at some point in time.
Yeah. Also, I'm kind of thankful that they did, that they were on tour these last couple of years. So that way, people who didn't get to, didn't get to see them, or, have that relationship with them, there would be at least newer, updated footage of them, for people to be able to refer back to. Just like the other day, I heard a kid who didn't know that the Jordan free throw line dunk came from Dr. J. I mean, so the younger generations can still learn something, and they can still be able to be attached to the older generation, even though some of these, heroes and legends to us have passed on. But yeah, first off, I just wanted to say
You
that.
make me happy.
I know. This is a time where I wish we were on, where we were exclusively on Rockfin, because I play a couple of songs, but
I know, right?
can't
Let
do
me
that.
just
Yeah.
mute that real quick
Oh, they can't. They can't.
because
Nobody can hear it.
oh, they couldn't hear it. Oh, okay,
Mm-mm.
good. Oh, okay, good. Oh,
And let's see.
Getting ready to go ham.
I got a couple of quick hitters, also stories that I want to throw out there for y'all, and then of course, y'all know the big breaking story that happened on Instagram Live. We will. I'll save that for the end. That way we can have a little bit of fun. My boy.
You talk about everybody's uncle.
Yeah, everybody's favorite my boy Chisel Adonis.
Everybody's
If you
favorite.
didn't see it, he went in. Oh, it was. I was literally laughing out loud. So I want to definitely show his commentary to it.
You know, Miss everybody's favorite sports uncle, Shannon Sharp. You know, he was fumbling with the Instagram Live, and you know he hit the button by accident, and you
Yeah.
know it caught him. And we don't know who the woman is, but we know her name. We know her name, Michelle. So we gonna talk about
Mama Michelle.
yeah, we're gonna talk about Unc and Michelle later on, because you know we've got to have some jokes. You know, we'll discuss
Yes.
some things that are a little bit heavy, maybe a little bit on the serious side, but you know we're gonna get to the jokes. You know, we
Most definitely.
as much as we like to cover the events and the news and things like that, we also like to be tapped into what's going on in the culture, whether it's comedy, whether it's music, whether it is you know, movies, games, what
Hold
have
on.
you. Oh, oh, Baba knows her shit. Okay, Baba.
What's she talking about over there? What's she talking about?
She said poor Shannon, the rumors of him liking men are squashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know
Yeah.
that was the thing for a little while, was that you know there's a couple of pictures of him on court side with the guy. I don't know if it's his handler, his manager, his manager's friend, but he's been photographed with this very saucy looking guy, and they both wear very tight clothes and outfits that would make you think that there are that you know
That's
that
what I was
they
gonna bring up about the zesty clothing, as some would say.
yeah, he wears a little bit of zesty. He you know he's a little on the zesty side at times, you know,
Mhm.
but we'll get into that one later. Also, Marcus too. I wanted to say
Mhm.
I have an update for you regarding the New York Police Department. I don't know if you
Mhm.
remember we covered it last week. You know there was
Yes,
something
yes.
else. You know I had gave a list of things that they would be have interest in. Right? I said we said drugs, we said money. We said drugs and girls, and I can't remember what the other one was at the moment. But we forgot something else. Extortion we didn't add to the list, and the it seems as if the police commissioner's brother Caban was extorting local businesses to get the police to stop messing with them for one reason or another. You could avoid the police problems if you paid off the police. And the point to that I wanted to make is that matter of fact, I'll just show a video. Marcus, go ahead. I'm gonna bring up this video real quick. You go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it is a good point to bring up, because the bigger thing, you got to have the police connection in it for you to have an operation to move on with, you know, the trafficking issue, with drugs, with all of these different things going on, and the corruption. You gotta have some kind of cover for you to do all that, and that just corrupting of politicians and local officials and businessmen around you is not enough, which New York is definitely rampant with that, and even the political corruption. But police corruption is the key part, is needed. And I won't even just say police, I'll say legal in general, because you got to be able to have people who are involved to the courthouse levels and things like that, who are involved in order to keep these kind of major crime operations, as you will, or what could be classified definitely into RICO territory if it was being pursued. You got to have all of those different things going together. What's up, Warren?
Hey Warren, what's going on, man? Good to see you. So yeah, there's here's my thing. In one of the instances, oh, everybody on all the other platforms who are tuning in, checking in, or those who will watch it later on, what's up to you guys? Thanks for tuning in.
And shout out to Steve over there, AM Wake Up too. So Unc dropped that Duck the Gay allegations that have been circulating.
Oh yeah. Steve, what's good, man? But yeah, to the people watching it later, thanks for stopping by and checking us out. Hopefully we have an entertaining show for you guys. But going back to the police issue with the NYPD, Marcus, look, one of the city hall aides went to a local bar owner in Brooklyn, and he said to him, "Hey, basically, hey, if you want the police to stop messing with you, you need to pay. You need to, flash some Benjamins, if you will." So he tells him, like, maybe for 2,500, I could, like, maybe that'll be the start of, maybe that'll be the start of you having an easier time with the police or less visits from the police. I'm thinking to myself, 2,500 is such a small number, right? In terms of an extortion amount. Now, if we're talking about $2,500 a week, that's a bit of a different story. But just to say initial payment, 2,500, this will get the cops off your back, especially with inflation.
Unless it's 2,500 per officer who's involved in it.
Yeah, or whatever it is. But I thought that was a low number initially. And it dawned on me. I said, damn, if they are being corrupt over 2,500, what about 25,000? What about 250,000? What about 2.5 million? What about 20 million? What about 25 million? And so on and so forth. So the New York, not just the police department, but the mayor's office under Mayor Adams, the corruption is just as bad as it's ever been, except it just seems like this level of corruption is like elementary school level stupid.
Well, I would say that makes perfect sense, because think about a lot of our politicians who already have a much higher higher yearly salary and have all kind of perks and benefits of not a lot of things that they don't have to pay for and shortcuts. Many of them are getting, bribed out easily off of 25,000 or 10,000 or 15,000.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that the bar for corrupting a lot of these people isn't very high. In fact, I think the bar for corrupting a lot of these people is easier than a lot of people like that we frequent with who are just average people. It's like, nah, you gotta give me a little bit more than that to really put myself out there on the line like that. And these politicians, it seems like they come very cheap.
Or they must be so messed up in whatever they have going on in their personal life that they can be corrupted, or they can be had for such a small amount, because I would assume if you're facing maybe foreclosure, your credit card's about to start garnishing your wages, blah, 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 and somebody comes and says, "Hey, do this for me, I'll give you 20,000. Let's just say $17,000 will get you at least out of the hole. There's a good chance that you will do it."
Yeah. And then while we're doing updates, I got an update that I would like to share. This is part of my little rundown stuff. This is just some stories I wanted to kind of get out of the way. Well, I don't want to say get out of the way, but I do just want to, briefly share these and talk about them real quick. Where'd it go? Y'all remember we talked about a coup attempt, right? There has been a verdict in that case, and I will mute my screen and share.
Three U.S. citizens were among 37 defendants sentenced to death by a military court on Friday for their role in a failed coup in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Armed men briefly occupied an office of the presidency on May 19th before their leader, US-based Congolese politician Christian Malanga, was killed by security forces. His son Marcel Malanga was among the Americans on trial, along with Marcel's friend Tyler Thompson, who played high school football with him in Utah. Both are in their 20s. The third American, Benjamin Zalman Paloon, was a business associate of Christian Malanga. All three were found guilty of criminal conspiracy, terrorism, and other charges, and sentenced to death in a ruling read on live TV. Malanga had previously told the court that his father had threatened to kill him unless he participated. He also told the court it was his first time visiting Congo at the invitation of his father, whom he had not seen in years. The Americans are among some 50 people, including U.S., British, Canadian, Belgian, and Congolese citizens standing trial following the failed coup.
So yeah, that was an update about that coup attempt that we had talked about a while back, and I was just like, yeah, I definitely wanted to be able to give that update on the situation that was going on in the DRC.
Well, those people should have kept their asses in America, right? You know, along with Malanga's son and his two friends. That was a terrible decision they made to go there to the Congo to try to overthrow the government with whatever they had. If you were going to do that, you should have made sure that you guys had enough backing, whether it be financial, weapons, soldiers, to be successful. So their mission was clearly unsuccessful, and they deserve whatever it is they get. I don't feel bad for anyone.
No,
in this
not
situation.
At all. I just think that the only thing I would add on to that, because I definitely don't feel sorry for him, I would add that I think some of the story is being buried there. The context
about the last guy, Zelman.
Yes, the last guy they said who's the business person. He's not the son's friend. He is a money handler in facilitating this coup. And there's also, I can't confirm it, but if you had to get my opinion on who this guy is,
the Middle East have something
he's from
to say?
a certain little tiny country in the Middle East, and a certain group
already.
Yeah, that
we caught the
I
name.
definitely
Immediately.
he's Mossad.
Probably.
I definitely say, in my opinion, I believe he was a Mossad agent who got caught with his hands in the cookie jar. And so, you know, more power to the DRC and the other countries for, you know, stomping out some of that stuff. Now to some not so pleasant news. I figured I just wanted to show some of this stuff because I know it's not getting out there. And
you said not pleasant. What, Madonna got another adopted black kid that she turned into a girl again? What?
I wish it was something that could be, you know, more lighthearted as something like that. But this was messed up. When I saw this, I was like, we got to cover this because I mean, and I hate to cover super negative stuff like this on the continent, and especially when it ties into biblical or religion and stuff like that. But here, it's probably easier if I show you than tell you. Oh crap, I got a little commercial, so let me mute this commercial out. I got to remember to log into my other account, and that way I won't be dealing with this issue. But yeah, let's start it.
It's so good, shit happens.
Na mimi kitu sitasahau katika maisha yangu, yani niliona watoto zaidi ya 14 bags kwenye kaburi moja.
January she came here. She stayed here for the whole weekend for January. Then she go back there. And she told me when it reached March, I will come back. Then I will not go back there again. Then that it was the end of me to see her.
Kitu niliona kwa Mackenzie, hata ilikuwa siko radi nacho, ni wale watoto kuambiwa wafunge hadi wakufe. Mimi nilisikia roho yangu, nilisikia huzuni, ndio nikasema mimi sitaweza. Hii si kitu kizuri, ni kama kuua.
We built a 7-figure.
So what's the situation there, Marcus?
So that situation, what's going on there is the guy Mackenzie is a cult leader, and the name of it is the Good News Church, in which in that church he I don't know exactly his reasonings, but mass grave of over 450 bodies were found. 14 of them were children that this guy massacred and buried, part of like whatever, some kind of cult beliefs in his church. So I just wanted to, cover that and show, at least to show it so that at least the victims are getting their due and their attention, that, the atrocities like this go on. It's not that it's, oh, great that something bad happened, but if I was a victim of something like that, I would at least want somebody to at least talk about my story and get it out there, what happened to me. I don't know this guy's reason, and I don't think there's any good reasoning for what he did, but it's a horrific situation that's going on there.
Then that's messed up.
Yeah,
that's real messed up. I mean, I'm not that familiar with it, so I don't have much to say about it. But like anything else, people who choose to manipulate always seem to find, they always seem to find their victims. So it's an unfortunate situation, and I hope everybody going forward is all right.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, up and down the continent, the way that religion is practiced, it's done in a very exploitive way, right? If they're not trying to trick you, if they're not trying to trick the entire community out of money, then let's keep it a buck. They're really using it for their sexual escapades. You see a lot of these videos from a lot of these pastors who preach Christianity specifically, and very often they are just really trying to sleep with most, if not all, of the women in their congregation. And they're also trying to manipulate their minds to get them to all accept that. It's very weird behavior, and the people who fall victim to it, I wish they would be a little bit better. But no one wants to be these people were raised to not be disrespectful and to be reverent towards people of the cloth, if you will. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the right cloth, but they don't necessarily want to be disrespectful to them. So they will go along to get along because it was ingrained in them. But they really need to step away from just blindly following people who claim to be of faith, because very many of these so-called faithful people are the devil in disguise just the same.
Well, that's one thing that I wanted to bring up. I'm not going to say I'm not going to put this on across the whole region there, but there is a certain amount of trust that's given to people in the faith community on the continent. And there is a certain amount of people who, of the cloth, if you will, who have learned that they can manipulate that and abuse that. And that's happening more and more so, especially, and I think it happens more so in Christianity. And when I'm saying Christianity, I'm talking about Catholicism and all of the things which lean on that side. Hell, you can say throughout all of the Abrahamic faiths as a whole. It is pretty pervasive and a huge problem, and for people who are true faith believers, it makes it hard. It really does make it hard, and it's just disgusting that people use something that is meant to be a positive to people and meant to be something to teach, whatever good morals, values, sense of community, and all that is used as such a weapon. So You know, my heart goes out to all of those people suffering. Nahilo says, good evening. I've heard from a comrade who lived in Rwanda that the regime in power in the Congo is poorly understood by the Western left, and the regime is similar in character to Zelensky's. That is very correct. It is a lot of that going on, and that's one thing that me and Chris are going to focus more on. We've always kind of been more into foreign policy, and any kind of stuff that's more national type news. But we are going to do more focusing on trying to explain more of the different things which are going on, especially in the continent of Africa, because we feel that it's speaking for myself, Africa and Latin America, because I feel like the politics of those two areas are not very well explained to Western audiences, and especially Africa, because there are so many resources that are stripped out of that area, and the area is so, just abused, and it's not covered nearly enough. So we're definitely going to focus on doing more of that and explaining more of that.
The coverage from the mainstream sources, it's always negative. Well, most of the time it's negative, and they don't necessarily lie about everything, or they'll just ignore certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Same goes for the continent of
lie
Africa,
by omission.
And the same thing happens a lot in South America. In South America, it just really depends on how much of a socialist they deem the leader of that country to be, and then that will dictate how the coverage is. We can look at Venezuela from the time with Chavez to now with Maduro. Clearly, the Western power structure has an issue with the way that they choose to conduct themselves and handle their business. So they are constantly bombarding us with extremely negative news about those countries. And a lot of it is fake, or the truth is wildly distorted. Same goes for the continent of Africa. You name a country like Congo, for instance, they will only tell you about certain parts of it. They won't tell you about the
industrial cities and stuff like that. Yeah.
They don't show you like the regular, they only show you, they always want to go to the bush or to the jungle or to the country and show you the people who are still living along those guidelines. They want to show you them and say, oh, look, there's no progress here. Meanwhile, when you look at sources out of the country, they're in the city just like everywhere else.
They have professors, engineers, all of that.
Yeah, they have plumbing, they have electricity, they have all the regular trappings of a city. They're not lacking in every way, the way that they would try to have you believe.
And in fact, what I would say is, if you compare it, when they are showing those people in those kind of more desolate areas and stuff like that, think about what our homeless population looks like and compare it.
Yeah.
Which would you prefer? That you have a smaller shack and you are healthy and you're eating, or you're living on a street corner in massive filth? So, I mean, though some of those people might not have monetary wealth, they're a lot of those people, even in those very rural areas, are not living in the kind of same trappings of the people who are at the very downtrodden here in America. So I don't know, it's just different perspectives, and it just something that needs to be kept in mind. I got a couple more little quick stories I want to throw at y'all. But
hey, Emoji, I wouldn't say city life is the pinnacle of progress. It's just the narrative would have you believe that there aren't any cities that exist in certain countries on the continent. They would have you believe that it is jungle from, border to, from baseline to baseline, if you will.
Now, Vietnam dealing with the aftermath of Typhoon Yagi, where a flash flood swept away a hamlet in northern Vietnam, burying 35 families in mud and debris. So far, rescuers have recovered 30 bodies and are searching for about 65 others. The death toll climbing to 155, with 141 still missing. Yagi made landfall Saturday as the strongest typhoon to hit the Southeast Asian country in decades. Rain continues to fall and rivers are high.
Damn.
Yeah, and
It must be that season.
that remind me of India just got, with the flooding and stuff going on not too long ago too. So those countries over in Asia are getting hit pretty bad. I forgot to grab the other clip, but while we're talking about flooding, Czech Republic, Poland, all of those areas are getting hit with massive flooding also. So, I mean, of course, that we're going to talk about Poland a little bit later, but just wanted to throw that update. So, for any people who, do any kind of humanitarian aid or donate money or whatever, it's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on in different areas. So, just wanted to put that out there.
It is crazy, and I hate that I have, for weather events, I hate that I have to stop now and consider that maybe something else was at play that brought this about. I really dislike it, because then you really find yourself in crazy town when you start doing that. Oh, it's raining, they must be doing something, and it's like, yo, dog.
Yeah, which it is, and that's what makes it hard, because sometimes they are doing some of the stuff, and it's hard to tell, okay, is this a time where this is man-made? Is this man-made as in somebody literally, this is the intention, or is this man-made as in causes from all of the different modern technology? Like, what is exactly? And so there's one other, like, if I figured we're already on weather-related stuff, Mother Nature, as they say. I'll throw on, this is something that's local that's going on, and then I got one more to bounce out to Asia for foreign policy.
For the fire and for the fires too. Well, we know some of
that's what I'm talking about.
We know there's sometimes there's accidents with stupid people who are probably under the influence of alcohol, where you have those mistakes and accidents happen. But there are also intentional burns that take place.
See, that's why I was like, let me get to it. You jumped ahead of it. You jumped ahead of it, because they say that in here. Because part of this is arson.
Continuing to threaten homes and livelihoods this morning. Firefighters are taking advantage of cooler weather, as Casey was just mentioning, to help contain the three major blazes, but containment is still limited. KTLA's Omar Lewis is live in Wrightwood this morning with the latest on these fires. Omar, good morning to you. Your mask is on, and what are you experiencing out there?
Yeah, Megan, Lauren, the mask is on because smoke and particles continue to fill the air here in Wrightwood as the bridge fire continues to burn. We can actually see firefighters going up and down this road behind us here this morning, trying their best to get this fire contained. The bridge fire currently only 3% contained right now. Over 52,000 acres have burned, and this is currently the state's largest wildfire. Firefighters across Southern California, they are making slow but steady progress to contain three major wildfires, and again have forced tens of thousands to evacuate while destroying dozens of homes. Currently, more than 110,000 acres have gone up in flames between the line fire happening near Big Bear, the airport fire burning near Lake Elsinore, and the bridge fire burning here in Wrightwood. The bridge fire has been burning since Sunday afternoon and has spread from LA County to San Bernardino County. Nearly 35 homes have been destroyed in the Wrightwood and Mount Baldy areas. There's an evacuation order in place for the entire community of Wrightwood. And because of the bridge fire, people in Wrightwood are being told not to use the tap water for drinking or cooking until further notice. On the LA County side of the fire, in the East Fork communities, including the Camp Williams Resort, they've been told to evacuate there. To the devastating line fire now in San Bernardino County, it's grown to 38,000 acres as hundreds of firefighters work to get things under control. There is a community meeting at North Shore Elementary School in Big Bear Lake tonight at 7 p.m. to provide information for the community. Right now, we know the containment is at 25% this morning after investigators say that fire was started intentionally. Prosecutors say the arson suspect, 34-year-old Justin Wayne Halstenberg of Norco, is accused of setting this devastating fire. Folks who know him in the area say they are shocked. And he's also accused of setting other fires as well.
I really don't believe it. I'm heartbroken to hear that. Justin is the sweetest guy I ever knew.
I can assure the public that we're going to go hard on this case, that we're going to be resolute on this case.
Seemed like he
Now to the airport fire burning near Lake Elsinore, where firefighters made progress overnight. Containment has gone up to 45%, and some of the evacuation orders have been downgraded to warnings. Others in the La Cresta and Robinson Ranch areas have been lifted. The fire, which has burned more than 23,000 acres, started in Trabuco Canyon on Monday. 36 cabins were destroyed in eastern Orange County, and in the Lake Elsinore area, the OC Fire Authority says the fire was caused by a spark from heavy equipment used to move boulders. Back out here live, that smoke is coming from the hillside that you're now looking at here. We can tell you they do have an evacuation shelter for folks in this community at the Pomona Fairplex and the San Bernardino Fairgrounds. Also want to let you know that while the cause of this fire is still under investigation, there will be a community meeting that's happening tonight for folks in this area looking for information that will be taking place at Serrano High School of Performing Arts from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's the latest for now. Here live from Wrightwood, I'm Omar Lewis. Lauren, Megan, we'll send it back to you.
So I just wanted to show that because when we talk about like the wildfires out here in California, I don't think people get the gravity and scale that we're talking about. Over 100 and what do you say? Over 102,000 acres that are gone. And some of these areas that we're talking about it's like what some people would consider high value properties. Like, I mean, it's some people going from, you know, some of these $1 million properties to you're now homeless with no insurance.
Yeah, so, if you don't have a mortgage, I don't believe you need to keep insurance.
Well, out here, they suspended insurance, fire insurance in a lot of these areas.
Did the companies pull out of California, or
they just canceled it? They said, nope, we're not doing fire insurance.
It's like here, you know, here in Florida, the insurers just pull out. They'll collect a lot of money, and then they'll pull out and be like, bye, I'm out of here.
Yeah, they said a couple of years back, they're like, nope, we're not insuring these areas anymore. They're too fire. It's not that they're too fire prone. It's that because California is dry and, you know, they're not clearing out a lot of this brush areas. It's basically you got heat, you got a lot of dry shit that's laying all over the place that's not being cleaned up. Some of that is carelessness, where people are lighting fires and not paying attention. Some of it is intentional. Some of it is people flicking cigarettes. Some of it could be other things. That's what I'll say. Where you can say that it could be organizations being involved in certain things. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag of nuts when it comes to all of these different types of situations. It's not it's this or that. It's this, it's that, it's that, it's this. It's all these different things. Like, I even think that some of the rain that they talk about is coming. How do we know that rain that is sweeping into the area, that rain is not, you know, manufactured rain to stop this problem? I don't know. It's just getting hard to be able to tell any of the stuff. And even if they did control that rain that's coming in, how do we know the negative effects that might come later on from that rain? So, I mean, it was just I don't know. Just wanted to put that out there because it's a lot of just crazy stuff going on.
Yeah, it's a lot. California is a lot. They're a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a
is
lot
a lot
to deal with. Yeah,
I mean,
it seemed like a lot to deal with out there, bro.
It is, and if you think about, we've had which we've been having a little bit more earthquakes lately, little small ones, but we've been having more earthquakes. And then something that I caught out of that Jill Stein interview, which we'll get into, how she brought up the fact that 50% of the foods and stuff like that are because of the water and all that. If drought conditions happen in California, it massively affects the food supply for most of the entire country. So it's just just a lot that's going on for us to think about. I see SSJ4 Curtis, what's up, y'all? Nice to see a stream before my bedtime. Yes, a special stream, and I'm glad to see you guys all in here. I see Chris H is in the building also, so glad to see you in here. But oh yeah, and the last thing, I don't have to show the clip on the last one that I had, but first look pictures inside of North Korea. First time in I guess they said about 14 years that Kim Jong-un is showing his nuclear I guess his nuclear proliferation sites, or just the insides, and looking to expand. So he's pushing to do some more things. Now, granted, they're going to push all of that as if it's all about military weapons, but some of that actually is about nuclear power,
Energy production.
Yeah. So, I mean, just wanted to put that out there because our media loves to always spin it as if everything's about him being a madman and wanting to go bomb everything, which I'm not saying there's not degrees to that. But some of that is about energy production. And so we agree that most of these world leaders are terrible, but if we're going to tell it all, that they're doing this also. We're not going to be like the mainstream media who's just going to spin it one direction, which benefits our corrupt government, or which side is the Death Star, which we're on.
No, I feel you. It's like, we either get propaganda. We can never not, Hamza, what's up? We can never not get propaganda, right? If it's North Korea and you mention nuclear power, nuclear energy, nuclear weapons, you have to say the two of them together. North Korea, nuclear weapons, be scared. Meanwhile, the conversation regarding Ukraine right now is, you got Blinken flying all over England talking to anybody and everybody who will listen about releasing restrictions on giving Ukraine bigger missiles, essentially, or missiles with more capability of traveling further into Russia. So you can see the United States, England, France they on some nasty work right now. Not that they're different from any other time, but they're really trying to push it, and it's looking like what Marcus has been saying for probably about 19 to like 21 months now, to be on the lookout for the next world war. Well, if you're listening,
oh, sorry.
Thank you very much.
No, I didn't mean to start it yet.
No, you're good. If you're paying any attention to international news, because you cannot make sense of any foreign policy matter.
Yeah, I was just pulling up that clip that clip you sent me.
Yeah, no doubt. If you really want to get a better read on what's going on internationally, you really have to check foreign sources of information too. You have to check their media as well, even their state-run media, which is probably pushing propaganda. But even to hear that, whenever certain things, you can hear something and know that it's and you can better able to make a determination as to what they're actually trying to say once you're kind of plugged in. You know what I'm saying, Marcus?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
This right here, right before you hit play, though, I don't know if this is a foreign minister, prime minister, or vice
It
president.
said, what did it say he was? It said he was, I think he was a minister of parliament. So he is somebody with an official position, an elected office.
Yeah,
you want me to play?
No, I was just about to say
Okay.
that this gentleman, he's as Marcus said, he's from Poland. This is what he had to say in response to Blinken, Anthony Blinken, for those who don't know, our Secretary of State, right, Marcus?
Right.
Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, humanist, what's good. Anthony Blinken is a major. He's another one whose little pee-pee stands up a little bit at the mention of war, especially war with Russia or Iran. He's going to run around trying to get all the kind of support that he can for that particular crash out mission. However, this guy from Poland had something else to say. Go ahead, Marcus.
I got to put that over, Baba. I was save that one, but that's a good one, Baba. But let's get to his comments.
Let's go.
Blinken, go home. Go home as soon as possible. Get lost. Get lost. We don't want you here. We don't want Polish people paying and dying for your wars. Thank you very much.
Yo, I mean, there is.
Yeah, it says Polish MEP Gierzorgors-Braun. I don't know how to say that, but I tried.
Yeah, I wouldn't even. Yeah. But anyway, that was a very good and direct message that he put forth. And, I think having people in your government who can say things like that very clearly, very short, sweet, to the point. No, you don't need any extra. You don't need no gas on that. You don't need anything. That's it. Take it. And of course, the United States is going to pay him no mind because they're going to say, well, you're Polish. What are you guys going to do? They're going to treat them like that. But again, if enough of those smaller countries, border countries that will inevitably be affected by any sort of war, hopefully enough of them stand together and say, nah, you're not flying your weapons over here. You're not going to use our countries as bases for your weapons or any tactical launch points. That would be a good thing. We do know that as much as these countries do posture and talk shit, though, they will allow a CIA black site. They will allow missiles to be positioned at Russia from within their country as well. So you should also be very mindful of your own actions, Poland. I'm just saying.
He seems like he is probably the leader of the counterparty to the party which is pushing, that is supporting a lot of this stuff. What I can find really quickly is it says he is a Polish politician. He has served as member of the Sejm for Rezerw, as chairman of the Confederation of the Polish Crown, abbreviated in Polish as KKP, since 2019. He has been a member of the European Parliament since 2024. So he's a member of the European Parliament and the chairman of the KKP party.
Yeah, so I mean, I had the feeling that he was an opposition politician, but regardless, his message was correct. But what the United States, France, and England, their dealings, their positioning as it relates to Ukraine is very, 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 very dangerous. So much so that Putin even said, oh, okay, we fight in NATO now, huh? That's what we're doing? We're fighting NATO? Like, am I beefing with Ukraine or am I beefing with NATO? You know, like, since I can't trust you guys, you know what we're gonna do? I'm just gonna look at it as if I'm fighting NATO. So, any of you NATO-aligned countries, if something should happen, and you know you find yourself being hit with artillery, you didn't mind your goddamn business. So it is what it is. And the United States and England and France, they're gonna get people killed who have nothing to do with this situation there if they continue on the path they're going.
And Chris H, he brought up, he said, let me put this on the screen. Says Blinken talking about the West coming together to sanction RT globally and target Africa Stream too. Oh wow, calling them my name.
Yes,
I didn't know he's going after Africa Stream.
At his little conference, he mentioned RT many times, and he mentioned Africa Stream as well. As usual, you already know that means that whatever they are putting forth, there's truth to it, and it is going against the propaganda being pushed by the West. And the truth is killing the propaganda. So because you're running an operation, you can't be honest. So you have to not beat someone with their ideas. You have to go in there and try to cut their electricity off, because this is what they do.
Yeah.
They can't win at anything. They just got to cheat. They're so nasty about how they do.
Yeah. Let's see. And I don't know. I'll save that comment about Tariq for when we get a little bit later. Talking about because it'll come back up, so I'll just save it.
About the Haitians,
commentary. We're gonna talk because
it's been all nasty, man.
Yeah, because I wanted to do an aftermath of the election, and we'll get into talking about some of that stuff. And it was just a lot going on with that, so definitely want to talk about that. And I was gonna say, Humanist Oba, and anybody else who's new to the stream, make sure you let yourself be known. Say hi. It's a welcoming environment. We want you guys in the conversation, whether it's something you agree with, disagree with, or something that you feel like you can add to discussion, or something that we need to be covering. Please feel free to hop into the community and get fully immersed. Let me double check onto the rock fan, see if we got anything else.
You know,
we got news here. I did not know this. Steve said TNT Radio folded today. This coming week is their last. Oh, damn, that's sad to hear. Shout out to our friend and comrade out there, Misty. And that's not bad news, because I've been fortunate enough that she invited me onto her radio show, and I think she's done outstanding work, and so it's sad to hear that.
What, the company who hosts her show is TNT is going? Oh, okay,
TNT Radio, yeah.
Look at it, you have to be honest. It's not the easiest thing to do to make money in this space, depending on what you're
especially
talking
when
about.
you're a truth teller. Yeah.
It's you. In most times, you are not going to become independently wealthy, plugged into money networks, if you will. You're just doing this out of the love. Maybe you'll be able to scrape up a few dollars, but it is kind of difficult to live your life, pay your bills, handle all the things that life has come into you doing things like this. Some people are naturally blessed for it, and they can, right? But I see a lot of people, they tend to grift. The people who make the most money are the ones pushing the most bullshit, right? The more harsher you are, the less polished your program is. The less amount of famous or semi-famous, internet famous people that you have on your platform, that affects it as well. So there's a few key things that play into your success, which success in this case, I'm talking about money. There's a few things that play into it. So you have to take all of that into consideration. But the best way to make money, but as I said, the best way to make money on the internet, doing news and politics and culture, is just to shit on black people and say that you're conservative. That is the number one way to get money, the fastest way to get money. Everyone who does it comes up. Every single one who plays that game gets money, whether they're black or they're white or they're Indian or they're African or they're Canadian or they're German, Polish, does not matter. In America, if you want to be on the internet and you want to get paid, pretend to be a conservative, and just talk
or
relentlessly
or a
negatively.
shit lip.
Yeah, or a shit lib, and just speak. You can talk about a lot of things. Just make sure that you are more critical of black people than anything else, or the donations will come.
Yeah. Miguel asked, where did I see the TNT radio news? I can't find anything. Steve just told me, and he's plugged in definitely with that network. As far as the information on Jason Burmis, he's done a couple of things out there that have been all right, but honestly, just his political takes of late to me have been very lacking. So, and it's just been more of a Trump.
Correct.
Let's kiss ass to Trump. Trump is the solution. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I can't entertain somebody who, in one breath, is saying this system is corrupted by people on high, but think that they're going to allow Trump to be immune to the powers that be. It's that he's working independent of that. If you don't see that he is a part of that system, then to me, your analysis is either not solid enough for me, or you're either a grifter, your analysis isn't sound, or you just got some massive blind spots, and you got a ways to go, in my opinion, on understanding what the hell's really going on. I would say, Babo, one thing I hope is when you said I'm like, I hope this ain't us. She says, how I figure out who is a grifter is, are they continuously pushing doom and chaos but never any solutions? Because I do know that I do push a degree of doom and chaos, and I'm not always solutions oriented, but I feel like the difference is some of these people are journalist activists in a sense, and I feel like we're giving analysis. We're giving our take on what we see. Always giving our take on what we see is not always going to give a prescription to get out of the situation. Because just like if Mike Tyson 93 showed up and started punching me in the face, I don't have a solution plan to get out of that scenario. Sometimes you win and sometimes you just lose. And so some of these scenarios there, I don't always have a fix that I can give anybody. And so, but I like to be real about that. I do give my suggestions anyway. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody to just lay down and not try to fight back against something. But sometimes I don't have a solid 100% because I don't feel like there's always an answer to everything. But I just wanted to say that to defend.
Mm-hmm. So what you got? Where did you want to go next?
So we have to our main stories. We got the Trump and Harris aftermath. We got Dr. Jill Stein and Dr. Butch. Dang, I'm forgetting his last name. All right. Was it Ray?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Butch Ray. Versus the Breakfast Club, mainly Angela Rye. We and then also we have I guess we can go on ahead and get the whole the Super Bowl one out of the way real quick, because I don't think sorry, my apologies. But
Butch
I guess we can do it's Butch Ware, yeah. The Super Bowl thing. For those who have not paid attention or not invested, or some of you guys might not even care. But I figured we would just talk about it real quick. Since Chris is the official Political Matrix hip hop head, I would be out of place if I decided to lead this story. So let me hand off to Chris at this point.
So Marcus and everybody else, again, this on the level of things that are important. Okay, we know it's at the bottom, but again, look, let us entertain ourselves from time to time. Now, with that being said, just sit back and listen if you don't know. Marcus, Super Bowl's coming up. Not coming. Well, damn, that's crazy.
It'll be up before we know it.
Yeah, that's wild. Like 5 months away. So Super Bowl is in February. The football season just started last week. They announced that the Super Bowl is going to be the guest performer for the Super Bowl is going to be Kendrick Lamar, right? Everybody's like, oh yeah. Here comes the drama. The Super Bowl is in New Orleans this year. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, New Orleans is home to super rapper Lil Wayne. Because of the location of the Super Bowl, a lot of people just assumed that, Super Bowl is going to be in Louisiana or New Orleans. So therefore, Lil Wayne, hometown star, is going to come out. He's going to get the halftime show. It's going to be lit. It's going to be popping, blah, 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 blah. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. Kendrick Lamar was selected as the halftime performer, which makes him the first rapper to be given the halftime show by himself. Last year, it was Dr. Dre and Friends. Eminem was it last year or the year before?
Was it last year? It was the year before.
Okay,
year before because last year I think it was Atlanta.
Yes, that's right.
And that's when it was Usher and Lil Jon and
Vegas?
Ludacris.
Or was it
Vegas, that's right. Vegas. You're correct. Vegas, because it was Usher. It was Usher with Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It was Usher, Lil Jon, and all that in Vegas. My bad. My mistake.
In Vegas. But the year prior, it was in LA, and Dr. Dre did it. He brought out 50, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, and he even had a small little set for Kendrick as well on that set. So people, I think, wrongly assumed that the performer was going to be based on the location, but that's not what happened at all. So Kendrick is announced. Nicki Minaj and all the rest of these people who are mostly Drake fans have been going crazy on the internet about Wayne not being named. It's gone so far that Nicki Minaj called Jay-Z a house nigga. I just want you to sit with that for a second, Marcus. Lil Wayne wasn't picked. Jay-Z is involved with the NFL through Rock Nation. They work with the NFL to pick all of the NFL's entertainment from the beginning of the year throughout the Super Bowl. So obviously Jay-Z's company is involved, and they're just saying that Jay-Z doesn't like Drake and he doesn't like Nicki. So he chose to shit on Lil Wayne by choosing Kendrick Lamar, as if Kendrick ain't dope by himself. Aside from the beef that just took place with the Canadian guy, Kendrick been dope. So him being named, and he's a dope performer too. So he's a good rapper, great rapper, and he's a great performer. Him getting this stage really shouldn't have brought up so much controversy. But the butthurt fans of Young Money, Cash Money are
but I can see some of it. I can see some of it though. It's like, okay, give Kendrick the feature, the headline, but at least throw some little bit to somebody from New Orleans. I mean, you got Master P who's there. Yeah. You got Manny Fresh and Birdman who got kind of like thrown under the bus. You got
got Juvenile, the Hot Boys.
You got a lot of New Orleans rappers who just
he
kind of threw the middle fingers to everybody. And there's no way, and I feel like where he messed it up is by you go to LA and now you turn it into a LA thing. Oh, we're gonna throw out a whole bunch of Cali rappers. And then you kind of set a messed up kind of precedent we're gonna do a performers thing, and so by giving that big nod to the LA being in LA and you made people look at it a certain way, because I guarantee you, if it was in New York, it would be full of New York rappers. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was going to perform. And so some of the other cities feel like that's kind of a shot. That's a good one. Also, you could have threw in some jazz folks in there, but people don't want to hear jazz during the Super Bowl. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. So look, I mean, if you're like, damn, I think Lil Wayne should perform, or I think it should be somebody from Louisiana, fine. Kendrick Kendrick on. Matter of fact, Kendrick was just on Lil Wayne's last album. The song Mona Lisa, they got the two of them, man, that shit is fire. Kendrick
hopefully Kendrick will be like, you know what? I'm gonna take the step to bring out, some show some love to the city.
Yeah, no, Kendrick is on, he's a certified Lil Wayne super fan. And he has had no problem saying that in the past. He's shown it online. So there's no beef between Kendrick and Wayne. But anyway, in hip hop circles, it's wild, especially because Nicki Minaj and me, I'm stuck on the Nicki Minaj caller and Jay-Z, a house nigga. Would he have been a house nigga?
She's just mad and wanted to find something to say that would be,
but sometimes I think people speak without really, thinking things through. And she was really.
Is Nicki Minaj known to be this great deep thinker and preponderance of thought?
Oh, so there's a thing regarding. No, honestly, there's a thing online with her fans that they are like. Because there's a couple of things that Nicki Minaj has said, and it sounded like it was crazy. And then sometimes only to be years later, people catch on. There's been a couple of instances of that there, right?
I mean,
so I won't totally hit on her.
Well, on that note, though, what she said, I don't think that this situation would prove that statement correct. But I can see people saying that overall for various reasons.
Yeah, about the business and things like that, not about anything else, not about like physics or football.
Yeah,
nothing,
because I'm saying people can say how you cozied up to the NFL and you're all about the money. It can be an argument can be made.
Correct. There's definitely a criticism to Jay-Z and Rock Nation for how they did that, how they rolled it out, and some of the comments that they made during their rollout of the announcement that they would be taking over the entertainment. I just say though, if he's a house nigga, that means he would be a house nigga even if he had Wayne on there. So you co-sign your man.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Either way, in my opinion, he would fall under that category.
He would. So then by your proximity to Wayne, given that you were signed to Young Money, you think he's the GOAT. That's your homeboy, your brother. You willing to? So then that means you too are a house as well.
Well, in my opinion, I feel like basically all of these celebrities, no matter if it's in the hip hop industry, once you get to a certain level, you kind of become one anyway. For the most part, vast majority are, and you're just yelling up because he's in the kitchen and you're working in the living room. I mean, that's how I see it. Y'all just in different parts of the house.
So the vitriol that she was spewing was kind of crazy, just considering, this is just the Super Bowl. The artists don't get paid. It's a look. And I understand if you would have just said, damn, I thought they would have put Wayne there. Wayne is from New Orleans. It would have been tight for him to do it. But keep in mind, look, and then Lil Wayne, and I got to be real honest. I like Wayne. The kids a little bit younger than me would say he's the GOAT of rap, and I fully understand why they say that and why they feel like that. So I'm not here to argue that part of it. But Wayne is on the internet crying like a little beep over not getting it. I don't know if you saw that video, Marcus. Did you see it?
No, well, I didn't look at it like that. I mean, it'd be one thing if he was like really coming reckless, but I just felt like he was genuinely hurt. I do feel like he was genuinely hurt. I mean, if I was on Wayne's level as an artist and they were having a Super Bowl in KC and I got overlooked, I think that would get to me too. That would sting. I mean, and it's not about money for the Super Bowl. It's about that it is your hometown, and some things are not about the money. And for a lot of Super Bowl performers, it's not about the money because, well, it is and it isn't. You're not getting money for the Super Bowl, but the promotion that you get, you're never going to get that kind of promotion anywhere else. That puts you on a whole nother level. And every person who performs in the Super Bowl, their record sales after that go through the roof. It also opens up them to perform everywhere, for ticket prices to go up, for all kind of stuff. So it's an intangible benefit that you can't really put a number on for what it does to one's career.
And also to me, this is all, it was a lot of it was about hype and, theatrics. Lil Wayne's tour bus got shot up. Young Thug and Baby, his daddy, were implicated in Wayne's tour bus getting shot up. Birdman was one of the people online saying, yo, this disrespect to Wayne is corny. I'm putting this on my mama Gladys, all this other bullshit. But yet you was trying to, you had your hands in some kind of violence towards this guy you used to call your son. So now you all up in arms because he's not in the Super Bowl. Yo, go kick rocks, man. Go get curb stomped. I don't know. Do something. But please go somewhere with your.
Oh no, go ahead.
I'm saying go somewhere with your uneducated ass. Talk about niggas don't need books. So anyway, we'll get him out. We'll get him out the way. Nicki Minaj never said anything about that either. Birdman was also Jay jerking Wayne for his money for many, many years with them contracts. So again, if you look at somebody like your kin, that's your son, my bro, my y'all made a song stunting like my daddy. You made the song. This calling you daddy and you robbing him blind. Like, so I don't care about you being upset over the Super Bowl. I just think it's gay. Whenever Lil Wayne had his taxes, when he had a tax problem and owed millions in dollars to the IRS, who came to Nicki? You send bread? Did Drake send money? Did Baby pay it? What about you, Slim? What about anybody else? No, that dude from Brooklyn, Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z. What did he do? Yo, bro, I got it. Don't even trip. Here, let me pay your tax bill.
Well, that's why I think that, like, without all the drama, the beef, and I think that's the reason why I feel like he's more hurt. Not the whole relations between those other people. That's a whole nother issue. But like, I felt like because he probably felt he was cool with Jay like that, he probably felt that it was kind of a stiff arm to him. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I don't know if Jay-Z is the be all end all to say who performs or not. I mean, I would think that his weight.
No, from what I heard,
he carries a lot of weight.
Yeah, from what I heard, he's the one who makes that decision. So, also this could be just I'm gonna pretend that I'm hurt, but Jay-Z has already talked to me that I'm going to be there and I'm going to be part of this. So this could all be a rollout. It could be, this could all be a ruse just so that he can show up and there we go, and go nuts.
Because it would be prior. Because then here's the thing though. This is where the politics of hip hop and rap, where it gets real sticky. Lil Wayne is formed Young Money, Cash Money Records. Who are his first two artists? Nicki Minaj and Drake. Who did Drake just finish beefing with? K-Dot. How you look standing on stage at the Super Bowl a few months after this dude makes a song calling me a PDF file right after so are you, if you're Wayne, you gonna get on the stage before he do not like us or after he does not like us?
Well, I think only people really in the weeds to hip hop would even be thinking about all that. I don't even think most people make the connections, because I
Yeah,
sure
they
in hell
don't. But,
didn't. I
yeah,
didn't make the connections to all that. So
but the
I'm
rappers
like, I
will.
don't give a damn about how either one of them feel. I
Yeah,
just would like to see, I mean, all of them, kind of just get a little something.
but for
Even
them,
if they get 30 seconds, 1 minute out there, or just walk out on the stage and show their face, that'd be good enough for me.
yeah, I don't think that would be a major move in their world for between Lil Wayne and Drake. That because it's like, yo, we look at each other like brothers. I would assume they view each other like that, or if not brothers, the close homies, if you will. That would look real funny if you going to stand on stage with this guy. Not even, it's not like 10 years ago me and him had beef. Me and him still got smoke, actually. Like, if we see each other in the street, it might still be on and popping. And you're going to go stand there with him like that? Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I
yeah,
look
Drake.
at the same time, though.
Because we're not talking about money. That's just a look.
No, but at the same time, but it is money involved. There's always at these stakes is always money involved.
After, not for, though.
Yeah, but not doing this is the difference of getting residencies and all that stuff like that, and possibly elevating yourself to legendary GOAT type status. I mean, I have plenty of times where I'm cool with this person and I'm cool with this person, and if you get mad because I'm still cool with this person, I'm not on this high school shit. Get over your feelings. This is my friend over here. You're my friend over there. And we ain't all got to hang out, but I'm not going to be like, I'm not talking to you anymore because my friend over here is mad. I'm not doing that.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Did they,
what I call feminine energy.
In your scenario, did those friends have a physical altercation?
Even if they did, I don't care. That's y'all problem. Y'all want to go fight out again? Go fight in the front yard. I'm not in this.
But you already know it's just human nature. Whether it's man or woman, somebody's gonna feel away. Somebody's gonna feel away.
Oh well,
there's only a few of us who won't. But if you line up 10 people, probably 8 or 9 people are gonna feel some type of way, and they're gonna try to use the claim of disloyalty.
But I feel like also at the levels that they got more people to worry about than the ultra hip hop fan who's like going back and forth with all this. They got audiences is way outside of, okay, this clique of people here who are on this team or that team is going to be upset.
It's still
they both have global fan. They all three of these people we're talking about have global fan bases. Have
for sure
views in the billions.
For sure.
I'm not gonna.
I think that I don't. But here's the thing: if we're going straight off of who's hot, whose name is really just ringing bells right now, though, you gotta go with the hottest dude in.
But it's not about it. But it's not about the only reason why this is a controversy at all because it's New Orleans. If the Super Bowl was in Miami, I doubt anybody would care.
Nobody would be like, "Yo, put Trick Daddy on."
That's the only reason why. It's because it's in New Orleans. That's the reason why. And
Wayne has a huge fan base.
Well, not only that, the opportunity. When's the next time you think that there's ever going to be a Super Bowl in New Orleans?
Well, the last time was 11 years ago.
Exactly. I don't think New Orleans is going to be on the list every couple of years. It's going to be cities like Miami. It's going to be LA. It's going to be Atlanta. It's going to be, a bunch of other
New Orleans is one of those. I think in our lifetime, the Super Bowl been in New Orleans like 4 times already. I think.
I don't know.
I think.
Well, you got to remember our lifetimes. We're not spring chickens either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they did in 97. Then I think there was one time between 97 and 2013, if you will. But I know they're usually one of the cities that's on the list next to Miami, Tampa, Where else is on the list? It's usually Miami, Tampa, Arizona. That's another one that's frequently on the list. LA, yeah, there's usually an LA location. They always try San Diego. They obviously they want to put it someplace that's going to not be cold. Obviously, anything above the Carolinas is going to be cold come January and February.
Mm-hmm.
Like
But
you
yeah,
put that in Baltimore in February, people freezing, just like it was in New York that time.
mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think I get the sentiment out there. But if there was anywhere else, I guess in closing, I would say if it was anywhere else, I don't even think this will be a discussion. It's just because of where. And
Yeah, just because of it's involving obviously Lil Wayne
oh,
and
thanks for the
Kendrick just
update.
had. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I know New Orleans is one of the cities that's on that major list. Yeah, they get it every so often. Did Beyonce perform in the last time it was in New Orleans? Was that Beyonce who performed?
I don't know. I don't know what year was there, but I mean,
yeah, I can't remember.
I don't know.
I mean, obviously,
as a city who's never on the list, I guess I don't have that much of a dog in the fight.
Yeah, they and obviously this is not a major thing, but like I said, I would cover 97. I knew that because Madden, they whatever. But anyway, obviously this is not a majorly important thing, but again, I stay plugged in to a lot of different things, not just news and media events that don't involve politics or politicians.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of politics and politicians,
we
I
should just
figure
stay
we
with
talk. I figure we go into the Trump and Harris a little bit. Or did you want to say that one and talk about the Breakfast Club first?
Well, I was going to say, since we were going from music and sports, we just take that,
go to the Breakfast Club,
right into the Breakfast Club, because, obviously this is another hip hop platform, if you will, or supposed to be hip hop platform in the Breakfast Club. For those who are not familiar, the Breakfast Club is a syndicated show that's on the radio nationwide. It features DJ Envy, Charlemagne the God, and Just Hilarious. That's usually the three of them. This Beyonce headline Super Bowl 2013. You are right. Yeah, I thought it was 2013 when they were last there. So anyway, and to that point, they didn't cry. Lil Wayne and them didn't cry about it in 2013. So it's just kind of like, why are you crying now? Right? But anyway, TBC. What's TBC, Marcus?
The Breakfast Club.
Oh, the Breakfast. Oh, duh. That was a good one.
He already stomped you.
I know, right? Look, I don't have blonde hair, but that was a blonde moment, dog.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they super trash. I don't care for them in the slightest bit. Angela Yee Dick, Nina. But anyway, the Breakfast Club, I don't know why they did this, but I'm kind of glad they did. In hindsight, now we get to play Monday morning quarterback, and we get to say what moves you did right and what moves you did wrong. They invited Jill Stein and her running mate onto the Breakfast Club for an interview. Jill Stein proceeded. There's so many things happening here, and I'm gonna need everybody to get on the level, try to move with us as we try to get through every single layer of this, because there's a few things here that we need to pay attention to and to comment on. Number one, they invited her. She got to talking about things that the Democratic Party might have been talking about yesteryear. And I don't mean just 2023. Maybe these were things that some Democratic politicians and or activists would have been saying a while ago. Now you have Jill Stein, running mate. They saying things like,
well, let's keep throwing his name. Let's put his name out there. Dr. Ware, Dr. Butch Ware.
Dr. Butch Ware, the light-skinned brother who is taking over the who's going he's viral right now. I'm sure his inbox and DMs is looking crazy right now because he actually went on there as a black man, and he spoke very well, and he had his facts with him. And the Breakfast Club, because they are such, they're not deep they're deep thinkers in the shallow puddle. Okay. They don't, this is not really their area of expertise. I know Charlemagne likes to pretend that he is well versed in these things, and every once in a while Charlemagne will say something that shows you that there is some brain activity, but it's weak and far in between. But he's one of the ones that they as in the Democratic Party have on their safe space checklist. So they send people there to have these events and interviews because Charlemagne is not really going to try to embarrass you in the way that maybe somebody from Fox News would. He's going to be a little bit sympathetic. He'll crack a joke. Maybe he'll ask you some, quote, tough questions, but he's not trying to embarrass you. He's trying to give you an opportunity for you to showcase who you are and how good you are with the particular issue at hand. Yeah, Marcus, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think our audience, they kind of feel for the Breakfast Club. I don't think they that far out of the loop. They don't know about the Breakfast Club. But
yeah, but some people do be like, I don't pay attention to shit. You know what I'm saying? So just in case. But anyway,
I would say that the first thing I noticed is it started off with DJ Envy. He started off the first question, if I remember correctly, and I just want to go over from what I saw in the very first start off from the beginning. I noticed DJ Envy was very laid back and seemed like he kind of didn't even really want to do this interview. I'm just being honest on my first.
He didn't know who they were.
He looked like he could care less about doing it. It's
like, that's what I'm saying.
It's like Charlemagne brought this bullshit in here, so let's go on ahead and do it. He didn't seem like he really cared or was very engaged. Two, I would say, I think Charlemagne was trying his best to just be fair. Even though he has a slant that's to the Democratic Party. That's what I would say. The other lady who was there, what was her name? Lorena LaRosa, which I don't know who the hell she is. I just saw her name flash across the thing. She was filling in for Jess Hilarious. And then they had Angela Rye, who was there, which her tone from the moment that she opened her mouth before we really get into anything, her tone was very combative. And so I noticed the very first, how it started off, I thought it was an amazing way to enter out. Dr. Jill Stein and Dr. Butch Ware both laid out a great analysis on the problems that they saw from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party to the contrast of what they wanted to do and the reasons why they were running, including starting off the rip, going into talking about reparations and cash payments. So I think that it started off very well as they tried to set it out. But you can see Charlemagne was taking the interview seriously, in my opinion, just trying to be, objective. I felt like he was trying to take the interview fairly, and he was trying to even though I'm not gonna say I know for a fact. I would say that actually, I'm not gonna say I know. He could even be leaning towards the Green Party a little bit, or open to going Kamala or going Green Party. I don't know for a fact. I mean, they are in New York, so New York's going to go blue anyway. It's not going to hurt him if he did decide to go Green Party. So I will put that in there. DJ Envy didn't look like he really cared at all. And when it got to Angela Rye, I think she was the second question. It started off very combative, in my opinion. So that's what I noticed just from the setup to by the time it got to the second question with Angela Rye. Your thoughts, Chris?
That she, Angela Rye, if you know anything about her, she's a long time shill for the Democrats. You know, she's always put on TV because she's light skinned. She's had
Chris, good thing you did explain it all.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, good. Angela Rye's been on the scene. She was involved. You know, she was one of the people who was being interviewed a lot during the Black Lives Matter rally. She worked with some people on the Hill regarding. I think she did some work with the CBC on the Hill.
She was part of CBC, the Rainbow Coalition, and she is Divine Nine. I can't remember her sorority exactly, but she definitely would be a soror.
But she's one of these light skins that they put on the TV because they feel like people will listen to them. Because that's just the psychology behind it. Don't ask me to explain that. Just
she's alpha lambda.
Okay. But, you know, you don't have to believe me. Just go back and look on TV and look at who they put on TV for that part of it. So she was very, as you said, combative and just outright nasty towards Jill Scott, because clearly these ideas are not things that the Democratic Party wants in the air. They do not want a certain amount or percentage, if you will, of their constituents talking about these things, talking about withdrawing funds and support for the state of Israel, talking about the issues in supporting Ukraine, reparations, other racial injustices that they are interested in discussing and finding solutions for. The Democratic Party is not at all interested in any of those platforms, programs, what have you. So their job is to make sure that anytime you see Jill Stein or anybody else, it could be who was her last running mate, Ajamu Baraka, and it could be Butch Ware. The Democratic Party has to really work hard to ensure that their message does not spread, particularly among Black folks. They cannot have this, because the people would be very interested in, at the very least, entertaining politically what they have to say would be Black people, specifically those who are into reparations, specifically those who are saying they would like some reparative justice for just being Black, right? They would like some makeup. You know?
And here, since you brought up reparations, I'll throw in one of the things which he said. Butch Ware got in there quickly and said, as Green Party candidates, this is something the Green Party has definitely supported for a long time. We have supported reparations as far as cash payments. And this is not something that needs to be studied over and over. This is something that the numbers are already out. And it would be the assessment that they've come up with is 10 trillion to 13 trillion, roughly around that amount as of right now. So they have a plan. They know what they want to do. They have amounts. They're not just saying I support it. And it's definitely for those people who would try to throw Marianne Williamson in that discussion. Marianne Williamson's nowhere near what they're talking about. Hers is basically like, I'm gonna give you a check for $20, basically a couple of scratch offs, a Walmart gift card, and a couple of biscuits. That's basically her form of reparations to most Black people. Facts. But the Green Parties is actually very substantial in what they're talking about, and they're literally talking about erasing the Black-white wealth gap. And not just boom instantly. It's talking about a staggered out process of paying this out over time. They're also day one talking about ending weapons transfers to Israel. They're also talking about ending weapons transfers to Ukraine. Those three issues alone right there are massive departures from the Democratic Party, not to mention some of the stuff they want to do for healthcare. And now, for those who are not familiar with the Green Party, I advise you to go out there and look through their whole entire platform, because
Marcus,
their platform down the I mean, boom, 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 solid policies.
And that's what irks out of the Democratic Party so much so that they have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at every chance now, all of a sudden, now she's concerned with Jill Stein. Now she's concerned with the Green Party. She's concerned with talking negatively about them. And in September of 2024, you didn't have anything to say about them in February. You damn sure didn't have anything to say about them in 2023.
But why, Chris? But why
now we
are
know
they saying something now?
because that's why I say this interview and the response from it, the fallout should tell us a lot of things. Is that the Democratic Party must be hearing or seeing or reading something that says we need to speak up and say something about this, divert the conversation, change the channel or something, because we cannot let them be running around untouched with this narrative that will affect us come election time.
Well, and I felt like this was definitely, like you alluded to at the beginning, it was a misstep. They shouldn't have had this. If they were smart, the Democratic Party, they should have shut this down and not even let this interview take place. But by letting this interview take place, and here's another thing: do you really think Kamala Harris would take the chance right now of going on any of these shows and sitting for an hour long, having free-flowing conversation where she has no clue where the questions are coming from?
Oh, did you see her last interview?
You're talking about the 27-minute interview, which she split time with Tim Walz?
No, there's another one.
Well, it's probably to somebody extremely friendly. So I mean,
it's bad. Oh, I'm gonna find the clip. Oh, I'm gonna show you how bad it is.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't see Kamala sitting down and being able to talk freely and have that conversation and go back and forth. I also know that because of their position as far as weapons to Palestine. Hello, all in the chat. What's up, Ann Jeffers? Oh yeah, make sure to put your channels in the chat. That way we can plug it and help uplift you as much as we can. But they know that right now, as far as the people, the uncommitted vote, and the people who, especially a lot of the Palestinian Americans and Muslim population, and I'd say people who are voting specifically on what's going on in Gaza, that is hurting Kamala's chances of winning right now. And if she had them in the fold, I would think that Trump don't even have a chance. I would say that, she has this in the bag at this point. But because she doesn't have them, and because basically many of those people have went to the Green Party, they're fretting and they're nervous and they're scared. And so what they decided to do was they figured, oh, well, we can get them on there and we can throw in our people to kind of shut them down. And I don't feel it went that way. I think that, in fact, all you did was give a whole group of people who are not familiar with the Green Party at all, are familiar with Dr. Jill Stein, or like I've even heard some people who know who she is, which surprises me, like Amazing Lucas, which I do listen to quite often. And he was like, I didn't even know who Jill Stein was. And I'm like, how the fuck are you where you are and not know that? But that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah, correct. There's a lot of people who didn't know who she was.
But I felt it to me, if you are covering politics and you feel like you are this authority to tell people what's going on in politics, especially as aggressively as many of these other people do, and you don't know who Jill Stein is, then maybe you need to slow down a little bit and open the ears more instead of doing as much talking. Because there are people that you need to be obviously consulting with and trying to figure out, or at the level some of these people are, you can have them on your platform yourself and start drilling them and asking these questions directly. But instead of acting like you guys know it all, you need to start paying more attention to what the hell is actually going on. And so I felt like like Chris put in there, she got massively ratioed, Angela Yee, by how
Not
she
Angela,
was.
Angela
I felt
Rye.
Angela Rye, sorry. I felt she was extremely combative. And I think it was Humanist said in there that she's a friend of Kamala. And I don't know why you would tip your hand and say, well, I've been in the room with her. I've been in the room with her. This is what I would have said back if I was Jill Stein. I said, okay, you've been in the room with her, but you're not sitting up there doing policy. You're not there at that conversation. Just because you're friends with somebody, you don't know exactly how they're going to handle things. Also, we have seen Kamala flip-flop on many things while she's been on the political stage. So just because she tells you something and she's willing to listen, that doesn't mean jack, because we have not seen her take in any of these positions and actually make them her own. She sounds like somebody who's just trying to say what she thinks people want to hear, which we'll get into Kamala, the debate and all that stuff later. But the points that she started to bring up, she was like, well, don't you feel like you're taking the Democrats' votes, or you're taking votes away from the Democrats and you're helping Trump? Which this is what all the vote blue no matter who say, and this is the harm reduction people. This is their argument that they always bring up. And I like the fact that what Jill Stein had a response for that. She was like, no, we're not. A lot of these people who we're voting, a lot of these voters that we're bringing in are people who've decided that they don't want to vote for either one of these candidates. And more than likely, we're going to sit home. So we're bringing out a whole different electorate of people. We're not pulling necessarily from your side to your side. Now, granted, there are going to be some who, if a Jill Stein's not in there, they're going to vote for Trump, or they're going to vote for Chase Oliver, or they're going to vote for Kamala. But majority of their voters are coming from people who more than likely were going to sit at home.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The other part, well, Angela Rye tried to play the role that had Jill Stein been anybody else, maybe it would have worked. She came up there with that sassy ass shit that, some of these black women do, and it gets a lot of love on the internet, when honestly a lot of the time that shit just comes along as like fucking childish behavior. I just got to keep it real. When she said to Jill Stein, and Jill Stein messed up by not knowing how many people are in Congress or in the government. Obviously that was a layup. She should have known that, considering that she is a candidate running to be president. However, does that mean a whole lot? No, but you should have. I feel as if you should have known that. You should have known that. But moving on to Angela Rye, when she said, oh, AOC's done something you haven't, which is win an election. Most people, Angela Rye thought that comment was going to spur the response of, "Ooh, go girl! Ooh, you gotta burn! Ooh, you get that!" No, you just looked real funny money in saying that, considering that you're friends with Kamala. No one supported her. No one. She's been selected at every level. Selected, not elected. Selected. So if anybody wanted to burn Shorty back, that's what I would have said. Well, you friends with a chick who's like the ultimate DEI affirmative action choice I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I wouldn't use that wording.
Shit, I would. I mean, Jill Stein can't. I would.
Well, it would have been negative for her if Jill Stein used that. I think she could have said, you don't think that it is a conflict of interest that this is your friend and you're in on this interview? That you're not, obviously you're not being impartial because this is your friend.
I would have just, me personally, I would have highlighted the fact that she actually did run for president as a candidate within the Democratic Party and received absolutely no votes, while Joe Biden was one of the other people running against you that you couldn't even beat Joe Biden, and he was already old. Thought she was auditioning. Angela Rye thought she was going to audition for a seat on The View. Yeah,
hey,
seriously.
She's trying to take Sonny's spot.
But
that could be what it is too.
We shouldn't be afraid to. We shouldn't be afraid to use those terms, DEI and affirmative action, just because the right wing uses it so much. Like that. Essentially, if I was to think of those two things, Kamala Harris does come to mind, bro.
Yeah, but I wouldn't. The reason why I would avoid using those is, why would you cede ground to your opposition? I wouldn't use it, because then it gives legitimacy. Because when the right is using it, they're not using it from, oh, well, we're just pointing out something. Most of the time, they're using it from a racist lens, and
Yeah,
it covers their racism when you just kind of like use their same terminology.
Yeah,
and so
I think too many people. The right wing is really the right wing online operation should be like dapping themselves up. They're running a very good campaign in that they're getting a lot of people to buy into their bullshit or to be scared of their bullshit. They're doing excellent as far as I'm concerned. I don't agree with what they're saying. I'm talking about their effect that they are trying to have, right? And
well,
so
I feel
perfect
like
example.
within their bubble, yes. Within people who are more sympathetic to right-leaning commentary, yes. But I feel
Yes,
like
correct.
it's very divisive to everybody else who's not.
Facts all the time. But even like, look, they got the whole eating the cat, eating the cat, eating the dog, eating the dog. They got all that shit out there now, and it's so wild. Like Trump's going to the real quick in and out. I won't even say. I'll wait.
Here, hold it. Save
So
the Trump one. I know, because we're gonna get there. We'll get there.
So going back to Breakfast Club and Angela Rye, though, she was very disrespectful, and she was brought on there. She was brought on there specifically to be the disrespectful mouthpiece to whatever Jill and what Dr. Ware were going to say. So
Yeah.
that was her main purpose of being there that particular day. I don't know why they didn't allow just regular Jess Hilarious, or just even do it with Charlemagne and Envy. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
Jess had
you brought
something to
her in.
do. Jess had
Yeah,
something to do. So but they had somebody who was filling in for Jess Hilarious. Why didn't you let that woman do more talking? She got probably about like what 15 words out the whole thing, and well, that's something else that I wanted to bring up. The fact of for you Kamala supporters out there, getting all upset, Kamala, people are going to mess up names. Quit taking everything as an obvious disrespect. It isn't. Some of these people, just because they're used to pronouncing it different ways, or they don't think much of it, and there's never been this emphasis on pronouncing it a certain way to some people, or maybe they just don't know exactly.
So how are you supposed to say her name? I say Kamala.
I say Kamala. You say Kamala too, but some people have said Kamala. Some people have said Cub Mala. I don't know, maybe the way they paused in saying it or something. People taking it all kind of different ways. I think of how many people I know who I pronounce the name Mario, and I've heard people say Mario. That sounds weird to me, but most of the people I know of,
one thing I can call her Kamala,
but
we can do this on her level as well.
But most of the people who I know, who they're not intentionally going out trying to offend you. Okay, you can't be this. To me, why are you so damn sensitive over that? And I heard people in the chat, people in the comments said, look how offended they get at a mispronunciation of the name, but they don't care about genocide. And I'm like, without even going into the Green Party, this policy, that policy, that one alone is enough for some people. Just the what's going on with Gaza, that's enough. For some people, all this money, that even if they don't care about Gaza, they care about how much money the U.S. is spending in shipping weapons to Ukraine and to Israel. Some people, that's enough about the money. Some people, reparations is enough. Some people for the stuff that they want to do as far as the economy. So I feel like all of the stuff that they have massive appeal and support to many of their voters that are huge issues. They're not incremental little baby step stuff which some of the Democrats want to do. And I would also bring in how she brought up, well, you haven't won this, or you haven't won that. Or, okay, if I did win all this stuff, I wouldn't have to sit here and talk to you. I could go on to other platforms. Whether
Well,
whether a person
what, let's
wins,
be honest.
whether a person has been successful before and get in the head, that's not a reason why they should or should not run.
Well,
You can only hit the pitches you swing at, and if they're not going to take this swing, then how could they even have a chance of winning?
Mm-hmm. The Democratic Party has done a lot of things in the background that the average person is not going to know about unless they really, really follow these court issues and electoral matter issues very closely. They filed lawsuits. They've had, they've done a whole bunch of things to ensure that the Green Party is going to have to struggle to get on the ballot and things like that. So these are things that the average Democratic voter doesn't think about, doesn't care about, isn't aware of, and you can make them aware of it, but they don't care. Again, maybe they would care if Trump wasn't on the other side, but because Trump is there, and we know that too many people suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, it's only insulting her. Because so many people suffer from TDS, they are willing to just turn a blind eye to a lot of things, not just one or two things that are not right. They're willing to just look the other way on a whole slew of issues. You see that with Biden's son, the corruption involved there, all of the money as it pertains to Israel, all the money it pertains to Ukraine, all of it.
Well, I would throw in this. We are the Green Party. We are not Democrats light. Our job is not to worry about what happens to the Democratic Party. We don't care what happens to the Democratic Party, because from our viewpoint, like they said in there multiple times, you're two sides of the same coin. This one is the knife that stabs you. This one is the gun that shoots you. We both see you as negative. We both see the effects of both of these parties as negative. So you want me to worry about the gun, but you don't want me to worry about the knife over here. But from our perspective, we're the Green Party. Well, I'm speaking as if I'm the Green Party, but I'm saying our job is to worry about our party, not your Democratic Party, not your Republican Party, not the Libertarians. We need to worry about us. And when she brought up, taking away votes and all that. Okay, so when should I try to run? When is this? What? Or is there going to be this Republican that's going to be put up that you guys are going to be considered as safe for us to try to run that election cycle?
They said
when should we try to run?
They said in 2008, you can't let John McCain, because he wants to bomb Iran. You got to get behind Obama. He's the anti-war candidate, blase schmaze. Then in 2012, Romney's going to do this and blah, blah, blah. You got to vote. Most important election ever. 2016, 2020. I mean, it's the same thing all the time. So to Marcus's point, at what time do you actually decide to mount a campaign for something not Democratic or Republican Party connected?
Yeah, I mean, I've been here most important election since '96.
Yes.
So, okay, so when is the Green Party supposed to try? When are they supposed to try to get in? And also, it's not the Green Party's fault that the rules keep getting changed by the Republicans and the Democrats. And mainly it's been the Democrats, because they feel like that's who's siphoning their votes. So you look at it like the whole stuff that how they faux pretended that they were going to go after the Green New Deal, which AOC was one of the main fake champions of that, to drag voters from the Green Party. And I feel like we've always looked at these sheep herders as far as presidential elections, but we haven't looked at the sheep herders on a lower level, like an AOC, like a lot of the squad members, which are meant to pull power away from the Green Party. So another thing she brought up, well, if you did get elected, who would you have in Congress to help you out? Well, there's a lot of power to the bully pulpit. At the time when perfect example, LGBTQ, when Obama pushed that, the Democrats and Republicans, neither one were pushing for that. Neither one.
No, they weren't.
Not that long before that, you still had the most furthest to the left with that position in the military was don't ask, don't tell. You had DOMA, Defense of Marriage Act, that was the Democrats. So it took for Joe Biden to blurt something out and Obama to change a policy, and then the rest of the Democrats got behind it. Just like during the Trump administration, there were plenty of things that Trump said out of his own mouth, and then the Republicans start scramble to try to make what he say a reality. There's an immense power that comes with the bully pulpit. It's not like being a senator where you got to try to cobble together some votes and all that. So I felt like Angela Rye's framing of everything was such a warped perspective. And she can say she's not a Democratic shill all she wants. If she's not a Democratic shill, then she is somebody that is completely brainwashed by the voices of the Democratic Party, and she's taking their framing to that's what the reality is, that it is something that is concrete that cannot be changed from that perspective. Now, if you're asking me my overall, I believe that I believe closer to what Ariza Islam would be saying right now, that the powers that be have picked their winners. The powers that be are going to push and guide the things whichever they want. Now, we don't know what that's going to be. And I feel like that's the reason why on a lot of the key issues, you don't see very much difference, honestly, between what is manifestly done between Trump and what is manifestly done between Biden. You're going to have a little bit of, okay, on this thing, they did that different. On this thing, they did that different. But there's not a lot of wiggle room between the two. But you know, that's I guess my take on that. Overall, Envy kind of looked like he was bored and didn't want to be there. Charlemagne, even though I felt like he leaned to the Democrats, he seemed like he was trying to give a fair interview. I honestly, unsung hero, Dr. Butch Ware, because even when she was coming so negative, he found ways to try to use humor to disarm some of those situations and keep it from getting as contentious as it could have been. Because I could see that Lauren or Lorena LaRosa lady over there, she was about to pull out some of that negative energy also. And I don't know if it's all has to do with the sorority stuff or the Democratic stuff, or if some of it is just to a visceral black woman mentality that we have now, which is that dynamic of black women versus black men. I don't know how much that all plays into, but that's just my thoughts.
You know, I'll close it with this. The Breakfast Club did not expect the outcome. Well, not even the Breakfast Club, but Angela Rye surely did not expect what she's seeing, because whether it's on Twitter or it's the comments on the YouTube page, there's not a single comment in favor of her behavior.
She got flamed.
Every single comment was like, wow, she was extremely rude. Her energy was nasty and what have you. Up and down, the entire comment section was saying that. On the internet, they have, Angela Rye as a hashtag that's trending right now. Right. Mm-hmm. So she's not having a good group of days on the internet, if you will. She was great question. Nihilo asked, what was she expecting? She was expecting the treatment that a lot of black women in this media space expect just for telling you to vote Democrat. Any black woman on The View, any black woman being put on NBC, CBS, ABC, NPR, any black woman writer at the New York Times, the Washington Post, any of these liberal outlets, they're going to be very black woman feature heavy, because they feel like they are the political leaders of the black community. So they are going to they're going to give them every microphone and pedestal and camera as possible to make it seem as if, look, they are speaking for the community at large, and we need to have some sort of deference to them. But I will say that the Black women in those spaces at those networks that I've named, they're all very disingenuous, all plugged in with the Democratic Party, all plugged in with the sororities called the Divine Nine. They have all of these connections to these leechy ass organizations that seek to mislead you, mistreat you, and misappropriate every goddamn thing. So when you see them on there, do not consider them leaders. They don't speak for me. They don't speak for Marcus, and they don't speak for a majority of Black people. If you want to know what any group or individual feels, go talk to them. Do not take these women and their opinions to speak for any other group outside of Black women politically, because they seem to be the most married to the Democratic Party, the most married. And I hate to say that. I hate saying that because for obvious reasons, but in our community, that is the group of people who are glued to them. You can't say anything to a Black woman these days who is a Democrat, mind you. I'm not talking about all Black women. I'm talking about politically women, Black women who pay particular attention to politics. I'm talking about that group of women. They are married to the party and they are not divorcing it anytime soon at all. They're just going to curse you out, tell you you ain't shit, tell you that you think you're a white man. They're going to say they're going to say a whole bunch of things about people like myself or like Marcus or anybody else, or somebody who's not even as extreme as I am sometimes in my delivery or even some of my adjectives I use. They would even say people less than that. They would have the same criticism for them as they would for me. So you just really have to be mindful that when they are talking on those TV channels and those platforms I mentioned, just know they're part of the Democratic Party.
Well, Chris, I would throw in, I hate to say this, but I just got to rip the Band-Aid off. I would throw in gay Black men too.
Oh,
gay Black men who are politically connected would fall right in there. The same thing.
The same. Yo, they are the big, talk about big tent. That's them. The ones and they have to find the most loudest, most flamboyant gay dude around to be the spokesperson. It can't just be somebody who doesn't lead, who is gay, but don't lead with their sexuality. It always got to be the gay dude who leads with his sexuality first and then wants to talk to you about some politics, right? Hey, girl, let me tell y'all. Oh, yo, Duke, why you got to move like that, B? Why you got to talk like that? You can't be normal? Can you not just be normal? All of this, you all over the place, you acting, your women don't act like that.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, if they were going to have a Black woman on there, who I would have liked to seen, who I think could have gave a fair pushback, who I feel like is still kind of who may be a Kamala supporter. I don't know exactly where. I had to look up her name, make sure I didn't get it wrong. But Teslin Figaro. I would have liked to see. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen her on there because I felt she could have made it a very interesting and educated conversation and not have been sitting on her computer to try to find how can I be against them the whole time.
It's bad, dog. And like you said, those two groups within the Black community, as it relates to politics, they are hurting the community more than they are helping, and they are just so full of themselves that they won't listen to anything else. So, when you go down with the ship, yes, I will be laughing at you because we've been trying to tell you, we've had conversations with you. We have not been rude. We've wanted
hey, Lucy.
dialogue. We've tried to educate you. We tried to put you onto game. We have drawn the connections for you. We've laid it all out for you, and you're still like, but Trump. Nah, nah, nah. So you know what? The two of y'all, the two group of y'all, get on the Titanic. Goodbye. Sometimes, you know, what? Sometimes we spend a lot of time worrying about people who can't be reached and won't be reached. Look, if what they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. If you see me leaving and I say, yo, dog, I'm going to the water hole, like, yo, let's go get some water, and you don't even want to come, I'm not even going to drag you there. Stay where you are. Stay where you are, parched as ever. Matter of fact, go drink some sand. I hope that works out for you.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, completely agree. And so the other topic that we have, and we did a live stream. We didn't catch it from the beginning, but I feel like we still were able to hit on a lot of the points. But I kind of wanted to look at kind of the aftermath of this, the Trump versus Harris debate, because there was a lot of criticism from the moderators. There was Trump says he won. A lot of the people, even within Trump orbit, said he lost. I hear that Trump does not want to do a second debate. He kept using the analogy of a fighter winning and a knockout. I mean, in the debate, there was no. I don't feel like there was at any point where anything looked like there was a knockout either way. So I don't know how you can use that. I don't know how you can even use that as a good example. I could say that when it comes to debates aren't like fights either. I feel like you should want to debate more, and you should want to have a second, a third debate, because all of that stays on the wax, and you can use all of those clips for if you're successful as more damage against Kamala. And that's I would have wanted to have a second debate. You had your one debate against Biden, and you had that on a friendly network to Biden. You just had one for Kamala on a friendly network to Kamala. I say do one on Fox, and it's a friendly network to you, but allow her to be able to pick out which Fox anchors that she feels she can get that she felt would be the most fair on that side. That way you would at least have questions that are going to come back to her that is going to be more critical, whereas they allowed her on the thing she's flip-flopped on to not really receive any kind of pushback. Yeah, the question might have been asked in passing, but there was no, hey, you didn't answer that question. When did you say you changed in 2020 on the fracking thing? When did you actually change? When was the point? What interview was it where you came out with this change? Because we're in the media. We don't remember you ever making this change, and you telling us this change. This is new information to us now. So if you can show us on the record and we can correct that, then we can go from there. But to just say, no, you changed in 2020 and we're all supposed to just take that because you said it. So, I mean, some of the things which I felt like they went after Trump on, I felt needed to push back because these were just huge. Like, it's one thing, a little fib or a little twisting of information, but some of that should have been pushed back. And I feel like even the second one, I'll give them, it should have been more clarification on the eating cats or whatever. What should have been said is no Haitian migrants. There's no reports of actual Haitian migrants doing that. Was there a report of a woman in another city who is not Haitian, who this one report of a woman eating a cat? Yes, that is true. And that is verified, because there is some truth to what some of these people on the right are saying. But was it a Haitian migrant? No, that's where the falsehood is. And that should have been clarified. So what he's saying doesn't sound entirely bonkers, which from the right, I don't even know why y'all would go there to go for stuff that's just going to sound crazy, whether it's true or not. I wouldn't even went there. But on the abortion stuff where, they're just going to, at 9 months, the baby's going to be born and they're going to decide to do with them. In that case, that kid was already the baby was a stillborn, if I'm not mistaken. And they were like, we'll decide what we're going to do with the stillborn. It's not like the baby came out and they were like, you know. So I think on some of those things there needs to be a little bit more pushback on that. There needs to be more clarifications on certain things both ways, and I don't feel like there was enough fact checking Kamala on certain things. Did Trump say he would be a dictator? Yes, but he said on the first day, and I think most people kind of knew that was tongue in cheek, that he was not being 100% serious. And so I think that you could have been a little bit more fair. Yeah, he said that, but come on, we all know that. I mean, it's pretty understood that most people know that that wasn't serious. And when he said that, oh well, I was of course you know that I was being sarcastic when I said I lost by a whisker. I would have said, how in the hell am I supposed to know that you were being sarcastic? I don't know what to take from what you say is serious or not serious. So how do I know when you're being sarcastic and not serious? So I mean, I felt like some of the pushbacks from the monitors, the fact checking, it was fair. I felt like at the same time there wasn't enough critical pushback on Kamala on things which she failed not to answer, or flip-flops which she did. Her feet weren't held to the fire on some of those things, and I felt like it should have been. I don't know. That's just some of the stuff off my head. I've been talking too much, so let me hand it over to you, Chris, on some of your thoughts.
So I think one of the things that I took away from the debate, I may have said this when we were live the other day, I think that they are a lot closer on most issues than people would, give them credit for. If you really paid attention on the things that truly matter to us, to a country, they agree on it. Foreign policy, there is virtually no difference. Can anyone tell me what the difference would be between them foreign policy wise, with the exception of Ukraine and Russia? What else? Where do they differ on foreign policy, Marcus?
On foreign policy, only Ukraine and Russia. That's pretty much it. I mean,
and that's a major thing right now because
rhetoric wise, they are speaking differently, but that's about it.
Okay, exactly. See, and this is how they catch people all the freaking time. We watched Obama run a campaign, and a lot of it was, hey, if you didn't like what George Bush and his administration did post 9/11, then you should be looking at me as a serious candidate because I'm totally against all of that. Homeboy got into office, and there was no hope for change as it related to foreign policy under Barack Obama. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, he ran the entire neocon playbook. And nobody cared because, it's Obama. We got the first black guy. He cool. My man be in the videos. All the rappers love him and shit. So, they got away with a lot under Obama because, it was the first. So there was a lot of things that, went on without a deeper discussion at the time because we was just like, shh, just let him rock. Just let him rock. Anyway, back to Trump and Harris, same shit. If Trump wins, the United States foreign policy will only change probably, or most likely will be the Ukraine-Russia thing. But obviously that's a major part of United States foreign policy right now. So that I can see that for a reason. I see that being a reason why they do not want Trump in office, why some of the people on the inside do not want Trump. As far as it goes on abortion, I've said it before. Again, Trump and the people in his orbit, these very well-to-do men who have women in multiple countries, multiple cities and states and things like that, these guys believe in abortion. They will continue to allow abortion in some way, shape, or form. Again, maybe some radical states with with Republican legislatures and Republican governors. I'm thinking like middle of the country. I think that maybe they will be the extreme ones, but maybe they're trying to protect their numbers because, as I always say, they're on the decline. They're on the decline, and they probably want to do something to try to help spur some slowing of that decline, if you will. Moving forward, Harris, she's just very difficult to listen to. She's such a disingenuous person. I don't know anything about her that is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know Trump is real stupid, right? I know that Trump is real. I know that Trump really likes sports, right? I know that Trump really likes himself. I know that Trump really, really likes
immigration, the immigration issue.
The immigration issue. I know that these are things that he genuinely, if he wasn't a politician, these would be the things that would come up in his daily conversation. Kamala, that whole shtick looks like a shtick to me. I don't know what part of her is authentic. She came up in Canada, right?
Partially.
Okay. She was in Canada.
So she grew up in the Oakland kind of Bay Area, and then moved to Canada for a bit, and then came back to the Bay Area.
Okay. So maybe when she came back to the Bay Area, she was really in San Francisco most of the time, right?
I think her mother's residency was still technically Oakland, but it's like right on the border.
Okay.
Which Oakland, San Francisco are like right next door.
Correct. Yeah. But it's, that's the difference between like, spending time in Bensonhurst versus Bed-Stuy. Right?
Yeah,
There's a
huge difference.
Even though
but her social groups, I think when her mom actually bought the house, probably the last couple of years while she was in high school, I think maybe she might have been closer to the university at that point.
Got it. But at the end of the day, we know the Democrats want to make it seem as if the Republican Party is aiming to do away with abortion altogether. And maybe on some level that is true. I just know that very wealthy men who like to do things will not make it. They will not ban it altogether all the way.
Yeah.
And outside of that, the debate was pretty boring. Trump, as we know, he can't control himself. He can't control his facial expressions. He's not nimble enough nor sharp enough to be able to return some of the forehands he'll get, to take it to a tennis term, right? You get a forehand from like Pete Sampras, bah! He smashes it. He's not quick enough. If he can't get into a position to return it with his forehand, he's not good enough to run over there and hit it with a backhand over, or a double-handed backhand or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? He's not nimble enough like that. So then he gets mad and he doesn't know.
That's the one area I would slightly disagree with you on. I think he is nimble enough, but if you're able to throw him off, those people where if you get them mad, then they start playing horrible.
Yeah,
that's
Trump.
What I'm saying. And so if he was able to keep his emotions in check, I think he could have been able to deal with any topic she could have brought up and have a quick retort and something to say back. But once his feelings got bothered, he just threw the plan out the window. That's what I would say. One thing I would say, because I wanted to respond to something that somebody had said up here. They said, where is it? Y'all don't do y'all research at all. Y'all all y'all at
What's
all,
the
y'all do
Heritage
know the
Found-
Heritage
what's the
Foundation is real.
Heritage?
Oh,
No, Marcus. What is the Heritage Gauge? Heritage Gauge. What
we're
is
not
that?
gonna pick on. We're gonna not gonna pick on spelling. I mean that happens when you're in the chat going quick.
I
We
know,
do know
but it's
exactly.
just like,
We know exactly who the Heritage Foundation is. I don't think at any point we ever said we don't know who they are and that they're not real. So I don't know where that would be. That we don't. We know exactly who they are. We've never denied the Heritage Foundation. We've never denied Project 2025, which they're say working on. That's well known. We've talked about it on the show. It says, okay, so when he said abortion would stay as it is, then got 3 sup just on the court. I think that's 3 judges on the court. Just they took it away. That wasn't a lie.
3 Supreme Court justices.
Oh, 3 Supreme Court justices. What I would say is how Trump has been on what he's been saying is Trump has flip-flopped back and forth on everything dealing with abortion, lately. So I would have also questioned him on what exactly do you mean? What exactly is your policy? Because you have changed policies multiple times recently. All I can go on is what you've actually done. And what you've done is you put justices on the court who said that they would not overturn Roe versus Wade, who overturned Roe versus Wade. So therefore, how do I know? I can't trust your word on this because you've shown that you're willing to say whatever you feel you need to say at the time being. Another thing, I heard people say that the Agenda 2025, that's a lie from Kamala Harris. How can you say it's a lie from Kamala Harris when there are policies that he has talked about doing that are on Agenda 2025? Now, you can say that he doesn't co-sign every single thing on there, but it's kind of hard to run away from a policy when you have people from that foundation who put it on, who are part of your administration, who you plan to have part of your administration. And one thing I saw from Trump is Trump lets the people around him run the issues for the most part, especially the day-to-day. So if you're going to put people who support Agenda 2025, you can't call it a non-issue. So that, yeah. Oh, Baba says it right there. Trump's 47 agenda is very similar to Project 2025. If you read it, there's a lot of similarities. Exactly. That's so for the right wingers who was like, that's not true. It is true. When he said there are good people on both sides about the Charlottesville thing, he did say that. Now, you could add that, oh, well, later on, he cleaned that up and said that he wasn't talking about some of the white nationalists. You can make that argument, but that wasn't a false statement when she said that. You could even, like I heard somebody say when he brought up the Central Park 5, you could say that he was not operating on good information at the time. But even when it came out that the information was faulty, and that the conventions were forced, he still refused to take back what he said at that point and still felt that they all should get the death penalty. So a lot of the fact checks, which I heard from people from the right, it's like, we're calling it down the middle. We don't like either one of these candidates. And we're being honest about how we see some of this stuff. Also, you got Vance and JD Vance in one breath saying one thing and Trump saying something different. So how do you reconcile these two different things when you know that Trump? Well, honestly, this is probably the biggest flip-flopping campaign I've ever seen. You got both candidates on both sides, which you can't trust a word that comes out of either of their mouths, in my opinion. The only thing that I believe that Kamala cares about, that she's going to actually fight for, is abortion. The only thing that I feel Trump is going to fight for that I can trust is he cares about immigration. Outside of that, I don't trust a word that comes out of either one of their mouths. And I can't trust. I mean, I've heard people say that golf is one of the sports which people, it's the amount of cheating, like they consider, oh, it's a gentleman's game. It's not very many people who cheat in golf. And they're like, Trump is one of the biggest cheaters on the golf course you will ever play against. And he lies about everything. So I can't trust somebody who lies about every fucking thing. Like also, there are documents that prove that he knew he was lying about the election, that he knew for a fact he lost the election. That's the reason why he's losing some of these cases, even though they are politically motivated. I will agree to that. But he knew he lost, and he was lying, trying to see if he could still get it to work anyway. So, yeah, both of them are lying. Both of them are weasels. Can't trust either one of them. And this is about personal gain for both of them at the end of the day. But as far as last thing I'll say is, I don't know how much it moved the needle. I think that it did reassure some people who were kind of open to voting for Harris, but still felt like we don't know enough about her, and if she can handle somebody like Trump, and whether you feel like there was an earpiece in that was telling her stuff or whatever, or you feel the moderators were too biased against Trump and it was 3-on-1. Trump of 2016, he dealt with the same kind of scenario where Hillary Clinton was fed questions and the moderators were on her side, and he still mud stomped them all. So that's where I would go with for Trump of 2016. This still wouldn't have been an issue. It's still, and that's the reason why I feel like maybe some steps have been lost a little bit on Trump, where he's not quite the same Trump of 2016. Definitely, I don't think that he's not mentally. I don't think he's any more mentally sound than he ever has been. I think he's probably the same mentally sound as he was probably 20 years ago, because I think he's kind of a little bit crazy and a little narcissistic. But I just think that he is the perfect example of a low information voter who will, whatever is around him in his circles, he just takes on it and spouts it out. And as far I don't see no conviction outside of immigration, and in closing, nothing, no there for Kamala outside of self-advancement and abortion's the only thing she cares about. But yeah, that's my take. What's yours? I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that.
No, I think on a macro level, the candidates in the legislature, whether it be mostly Democrat or mostly Republican, they're not that different. They're really not that different. To the issue about abortion, what is Kamala Harris going to do? Is she going to write an executive order? Is that what she's going to do?
I don't know.
Because here's the question: what is Kamala going to do that Joe Biden and the Democrats in Congress cannot do now? So what's going on, Liz? Is there a are they expecting to have a supermajority in the Senate and the House, come January, so that they can make it national law? Because they're going to say you would need 60 votes for something to pass in the Senate, right? So whatever they're going to do on abortion, are they're campaigning on what? On the assumption that they will have enough senators to get this passed? Because winning the House is, there's a chance you could win the House, right? Cool. But the Senate, you have to have 60 votes. You telling us you're going to have 60 votes in the Senate for this when you ain't have 60 votes in the Senate to do anything other than go to war? All right. Again, this is the abortion thing. Again, it is only an electoral it's only a tactic. And I'm sorry for those who hear that and are offended, because they know people who have been put into unfortunate circumstances due to the changes in legislation in the states that they live. I'm not ignorant to that, so I do know that there are real people who are affected by these laws. However, beyond that, it is still a tactic to get you to participate in their system regardless. This is why they just won't ban it outright, or they won't just legalize it across the board. It stays in this limbo so we can continue to keep, oh no, they're for it. No, I hate them, they're against it. You know what I'm saying? It's just
I would the only reason why I kind of disagree with that is, does like Kamala, the candidate, really actually care that much? Or as far as the presidential candidates, maybe not. Maybe Trump doesn't care about it to that level. But there are actual elected people on both sides that are seriously do care about that issue. And I think that's some of them that are singularly animated on that issue. I know that, I mean, I grew up in a red state with plenty of Republicans who they care about that issue. I mean, and I'm talking about elected officials, not just regular Republicans. They really do. If they could get it completely banned in every state, they would. And
it's
I
a
know
great
plenty of
fundraiser.
people.
I would be, if I was in
No,
that
I don't
world,
think that not on just fundraising. I mean, because I've seen plenty of these Republicans get to the point of going and shooting abortion doctors and trying
yeah,
to
I've
set them
seen
on
those
fire
too.
and literally go stand outside all day long protesting. I mean, to a lot of these people, they are true believers on this.
Yeah, to me, those are the ones who stand outside the abortion clinics with the signs and heckling the people going inside. You know, again, those are a small group within a smaller group. To me, the issue, they use it to drive you to the polls, right? To make you think about very few other things. And then, you know, again, you can raise a lot of money off this. I don't see it any deeper than that. Yeah, there are people who are opposed to it from a religious standpoint, sure, but from the ruling class part,
well, I'm talking about from the neoliberal side. They honestly just felt like they had it so much in the bag that they never had to worry about it. And the people on the right, they wanted it extremely badly. They wanted to overturn it. And they were able to overturn it because they've been campaigning and running on this whole organization that's all they do. And this is their single issue. And I think that people on the left just have never had to worry about it. They were never campaigning for abortion until it got overturned.
yeah. So
And
I just want to
I
know
think they
without,
never cared because they felt like they were in no danger of losing it. And now that they've lost something that they felt was always going to be there, now they care about it.
so without 60 votes, what will Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, if she is elected, what would change?
Well, see, that's a different issue. I'm not saying that those that they would care necessarily. I'm
No, I
saying
know.
that the people in the House and Senate, they believe that if they were able to get that bill to Kamala's desk, she would definitely sign it. Do you disagree that she would sign the bill?
No, she would absolutely sign the bill.
And that's what I'm saying. It's at the Senate and Congress level that where the caring about this bill actually sits. Because I look at the big powers that be, now they don't care either way. It's a non-issue for them. And that's the reason why I say I think this is one of the few issues that is actually a real issue, because this is where they say, you know what? You're not affecting our pocketbooks. You're not affecting our profits. So you guys can go argue about this little issue. But the rest of this stuff, you don't touch this.
So that's what I'm saying. So how are they going to, and I feel like it's just like her response on reparations. Oh, of course I'd sign a reparations bill if it comes to my desk. Operative word, if. So same thing here, but I think she would sign it.
She knows there's no energy even on the Democratic side to even push for it.
Yeah, so essentially they're saying that they're campaigning on reproductive rights and they more than likely won't be able to do anything about it. So that's what I'm asking. What can they do about it when they get into office?
Well, they can vote to repeal the filibuster and things like that. And there's other ways that they could probably push it. I also think that, I believe that if they are able to get the numbers up, that they probably could get a bill through. And they could get it codified into law, and it would be a done issue as far as those people who believe in that. I think that it's the right who is in the minimum position. They're the most feverish about this. Like, if it was up to people on the right, they would get a nationwide abortion ban. I don't think that they could get it though, because I don't.
So what do you run on going forward?
Oh, they still got plenty of stuff that they run on. Oh, the LGBTQ stuff, the trans stuff. That they got stuff that they still got all this other stuff that they're going to run on. It's just like for the left, or I hate saying the left because I don't even really feel like the Democrats are the left. They run on a lot more racial justice issues at that point. They start running on the LGBTQ stuff. We will get you incrementally actually, we will get more people covered under insurance. Not that the insurance is great. We will just get more people covered. We will get you more jobs. We didn't say that there'd be good paying jobs. And that's what I'm saying. That kind of stuff is what they're, because that's the kind of stuff that they've been running on. We'll get you more jobs. We just didn't tell you that they're going to be a bunch of fast food and grocery store jobs. We will make sure that they can't discriminate against your health care, but we're not going to make sure that we lower the prices on your health care. I mean, stuff like that. We will make sure that we will say that we're going to raise taxes if we can get the proper number. So they got all these things that they're going to. Because I remember when I was a volunteer on the Obama campaign, there was stuff that you run on. Now, when you really start to peel back the layers to it, is it solid stuff that you're actually talking about? I mean, Obama's like, yeah, we're going to run against not as many foreign wars. That sounds good, but what does that actual policy look like? Like on the right, they ran on, we're going to get rid of these regulations which are straining business and stopping small businesses. That's what they say. But what it turns into actually is we're going to strip away safety regulations for large businesses. And so, I mean, they still have stuff that they can run on outside of that, because when it comes down to like single issue abortion voters, a lot of the people who vote on the right, that is their main thing. There's a big chunk, I would say easily a good 35% of them that's all they care about, that one issue alone. And then, there's another thing. They'll be running on, we're going to get more gun regulations and stuff like that. I mean, so they always got a litany of things that they could say they're going to do. And what they'll do, the Democrats, is they're not going to ban guns because that would be going against the Second Amendment. But what we'll do is we'll say, here, an extra waiting period, or maybe we'll put you on a red flag list that will easily be circumvented and nobody will care about. That's what I'm saying. They'll say stuff. Is there any teeth behind any of it? No.
Yeah, I think even if Kamala wins and the Democratic Party wins, their excuse is going to be that they don't have enough people in the Senate to get something to Kamala's desk. So that's why they need to do something in the midterms. They will lose the midterms and then they won't have it. Then the excuse will be just like for Obama, but the Republicans. Fast forward to 2028 and it will be the campaign in 2027 will be, vote for me. I'll do something on abortion. Rinse, wash, repeat.
Well, I don't think they have to lose the midterm to do that. They can still win the midterm and do that, because what they'll do is, it's because of those blue dog Dems. Yeah, we got 60 votes, but the Kirsten Sinema and the Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin, they stopped us.
Joe Manchin's still around. His time ain't up yet.
This will be, I think he's not running again. But what I'm saying, even if it's not Joe Manchin, what's the name, Federer. They're gonna find somebody else to be that. Oh well, I guess we have 60, but we couldn't get X done. And the reason why I say that, if they're able to get it they won't hold off on abortion if they can get it. And the only reason why is because there's no political loss at that. You could, for Democrats, they can get that done, and it will not hurt them at all voting wise. It also won't hurt them with donors. The same with the right. The right, if they can get more done with abortion, that's a bonus for them, and they're not going to lose with their voters. And also the corporate powers above them don't care about that issue. But if it's some gun control stuff, we couldn't quite get exactly what we wanted on the gun control, because that is going to affect them. Because these major retailers who sell guns and stuff like that, now you put extra regulations on them. And now the big business community does care. But abortion, I don't think the powers that be, it doesn't hurt them either way.
No, it doesn't. It just affects how many people show up to their elections, right?
Because Obama had record numbers, and abortion wasn't the issue on the left.
Say that again.
I said Obama, when he ran, he had record numbers, but abortion was not even a thought or factor at all in that election.
No, not at all. But it was there was obviously with Obama, the main issue was coming off of all of the bullshit that Bush and Cheney did to state.
It was a housing crisis. It was the jobs being lost. It was it was all
that was like a Hurricane 5 category that brought Obama into office, right? 12, obviously they wanted him to stay. 2016, they just happened to put the worst possible person to run against the second worst possible person to run. There's a lot of irony there too.
Whose campaign? The person who never was just vote me because I'm a woman.
Yeah, the campaign was the person who never should have run versus the person who should have won. And it's we know how that happened. We know how that went down. But at the end of the day, the debate was really nothing. The memes about Trump and eating the dog and shit, they are. Oh, he did? Thank you, Aina.
Well, right here, Turin, I'll read this one. He says, Chris is right. The Dems can fuck all the way off. They had the trifecta and didn't do Medicare for all. They didn't do anything about abortion. So it's crocodile tears. And I'm saying they didn't codify it because they think about how long
they need it, Marcus.
They
need it.
How? But outside of
this,
it
as an issue to run on.
But they've been running without it for every election before this. They got, think about it. When was Roe v. Wade? When was Roe v. Wade put in?
Long time ago, before I was born.
Exactly. For every one of these years, they have never ran on abortion being being a major issue. So they went for like 65 years, not even concerned with it. They haven't been running. That's what I'm saying. They haven't been running on abortion at all. The Democrats haven't.
They have had other issues that have taken precedence, but it's always one of the ones that are in the bag. What was it like? Oh, we'll stop the foreign wars. We'll do this. We'll do that. We'll protect women's rights. It's always in the top 5.
But it's never been a
party.
Well,
in this election here, in the election that we have right now, they are making that the number one item outside of we got to beat Trump. Outside of that, the number one thing for the Democratic Party is we have to protect women's rights. They're running commercials and ads on YouTube with black men in a barbershop.
I get that
black
now.
Men in a barbershop saying to each other, "Hey, bro, do you know that women's rights are on the ballot this year, and we got to protect that?" So this is a major thing. If you solve that problem, you cannot use it again. They need to keep up the illusion. It's the same thing with immigration. The Democrats, Republicans, both could have come up with some kind of policy to not allow this many people in the manner in which it is going. They keep doing it. Look, it's same thing with the Republicans in Texas and Florida. Oh, we hate immigration. We hate these migrants. The Haitians are eating them. They catch these people here and they disperse them throughout the country. So how much are you really against these migrants if you're willing to put them throughout the country to roam wherever they may? So you're not concerned about it. It's just to get people to participate. If you don't have people participating in your system, then you don't have a system.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that the Democrats have not used abortion every single. Abortion is not. Yes, they might talk about it, but have they used it as an actual, like, has that been something that's generating people to the polls? No, not at all. I mean, it's been all kind of other stuff that's been the only reason why now I get it. Yes, right now it is because Roe v. Wade was overturned. That's the only reason why that's why it's been brought up. If Roe v. Wade wasn't overturned, then I don't think that they'd be talking about it at all. I mean, it's not the major generator of votes for the Democratic Party. In fact, I would say immigration is DACA and all that stuff was higher for the longest over any kind of pro-choice or anything like that. Is Planned Parenthood? Do they throw stuff out there rhetorically for Planned Parenthood? Yes, but is anybody coming to the polls to vote on that? No, they weren't up until Roe v. Wade. That's what I'm saying.
But it's been used as for both sides all the time. I mean,
the right, definitely, I agree. The right, because the right, this is something that a big part of the Republican Party feel very strongly on this, and they have hated ever since Roe v. Wade was put into effect. They have hated this, and so yes, of course, it makes sense. They have definitely ran on it. But
that's what I'm saying. They both have, and if you take it away one way or the other, you can't use it to drum up participation in their election because you're just going to be like, well, this is already satisfied. Now, really, am I going? You can't scare them with that. It will have to be another issue. Right now, migrants and immigration is high. We heard about this, several years ago. Look, 2004, the migrants or immigration was a huge issue with the majority of Republicans. I remember at the time going against Bush's plan, who was just kind of like, yo, just make everybody legal and we just be done with this shit. And they were against that, right? So they always going to use the same bag. They're always going to use the same 3 or 4 issues every election. It's been like that my whole life. At different times, they different order of importance.
Well, what I'm saying is there's no shortage of issues. That's all I'm saying. There's no shortage of issues for them to be able to use. It's not like they can only pull on these handful. They can always, whatever the media decides to make an issue can be made an issue.
So what was the issue in 2020 outside of COVID? What were some of the issues in 2020 outside of COVID?
Honestly, that's a good question. Because from the left, abortion wasn't it.
Okay.
I'm telling you, from somebody who paid close attention to
it was in there as well. It just wasn't number one.
It's not, but what I'm saying is just because it's something that they always talk about, that's not something that they drum people to the polls for. That's not even something that they even really advertised. That's something that for the right, yes, the right, abortion is always in the top 3 issues, always. But for the left, since they felt they were in no danger of losing it, that's not something that if you have something in the bag, why would that generate you to rush to the polls if you weren't in fear of losing it?
Because what have they said out their own mouth? Send me to Congress so they don't do away with Roe v. Wade. Send us to Congress so we can
gun control.
The law.
Gun control was some of the top issues. Gun control was one of the top.
gun control, same thing. It cycles. It cycles in and out of the top. Not even in it. There's about 4 issues, and they all cycle between number one. They all cycle from number one at different times. It is what it is. After school shootings, gun control becomes a major topic of discussion, just like what we just had happen. Abortion, Roe v. Wade, just like that is going to happen. They've been running on this. These are tactics. All right, we can move on to we just repeating the same thing.
I got it for you. I got the list for you. It says for Democrats, top issues: economy, healthcare, Supreme Court appointments, coronavirus outbreak, violent crime, foreign policy, gun policy, race and ethnic equalities, immigration, economic inequality, climate change, then abortion. Abortion is literally last on this list.
And it's health, but healthcare was number 2, right?
Yeah, but that's about like
that's gonna be brought up in healthcare, reproductive rights, women's health. You know, because half of the abortion, half of the reason the left uses is that in case something is happening to the woman, she needs to have options so that she can take care of herself. So it is always one of the top 2 or 3. The word abortion may not be used explicitly like that because that is an extremely charged word. So which is why we now hear reproductive health rights, which is
even if you took abortion off the table, healthcare is still going to be at the top because healthcare leads to most of the bankruptcies in this country.
Yeah,
it's still going to healthcare is not going nowhere. Healthcare is always going to be one of the highest things because it's one of the most expensive costs most people deal with.
Yeah, and they haven't done anything to fix that either.
I know that, and they have no intentions of getting it done. And the reason why I guess just my viewpoint of it is different. They know that they have to talk about it because people care about it. But they know at the same time, their donors are funding them not to fix it. And so, therefore, that's a situation where it's a push-pull. Donors want one thing, voters want something here. Now, how do we thread the needle and pretend we're doing something over here while not doing something over here because our donors told us? That's I guess, the only difference I'm saying, because for people on the left, if they're able to get Roe v. Wade and all that overturned and codified into law, there's no donor pushback over here that's going to be like, don't do anything, don't fix this issue for what your donors want. They're not going to push. There's not that push-pull between the donors want this and the voters want something separate. And that's what I'm saying. On abortion, on the right, it's the same thing. What the donors want and what the voters want is exactly the same. I feel like they line up on that issue, whereas every other issue, it's push-pull.
This goes above. This is, for me, I'm looking at it a level above the donors and what they want. I'm talking about people who want to I'm talking about the ruling class who wants to maintain these elections as a system of what's the word I'm looking for? Like as a cosign of the system. I'm saying if you don't include these things, the amount of people who would probably vote would probably drop down. Because we see all the corruption as it's happening.
Well, then that's that's the question that I have then. What percentage of voters do you feel vote because of abortion? Like of the whole entire voter base?
Right now, in this setting, the vast majority of voters on the Democratic side will be voting.
No. I'm not talking about just because of this one particular election. I'm talking about just overall on a common election. Like, say, for instance, it wasn't the hot button issue it is right now. I'm saying go back to 2016. Out of 2016 voters, what percentage of 2016 voters do you think were voting because of abortion?
Reproductive right 2016? Oh, vast majority of them.
No, can you give me a number? Like, what percentage number would you say?
70-75%. It was the two things was not Trump. We got to get Hillary in there as a woman, and then everything else that comes on being a woman. That's what they've been talking about this whole time. They've been heavy on this shit from 2016. All the ads, everything they do, all the placement, every mouthpiece, every single metric you can look at. This is where they forcing people to have concerns. Every single way you look.
Then I extend this. I extended to the chat.
The Pink Hats was in. They were literally marching in Washington the day Trump was inaugurated with their hats on. Part of it.
Okay, but I get that. I get the people who are the most politically active on that issue. But and I'm putting this out to the chat because I'm trying to ask, because from in my opinion, I don't feel like that's what I've seen. That's what I don't feel that percentage is the percentage which I would say, like, basically like that abortion is that strong of an issue on both sides. No. What I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing with that. That's from your perspective and your analysis that you see it at that amount. I mean, you might be from what you're seeing. I'm saying from my vantage point, it looks different. And I'm wondering, for the audience, what percentage would you guys say? Because maybe I'm in a different loop than everybody else. I would put, because my percentage, I would say that abortion actually is factored in on the election. I would say for the Democratic Party, how many people like that is that abortion is make or break for them. I mean that I would say that abortion, not make or break, that I would say abortion is in their top 3 issues when they're going to the polls. For the Democratic side, in my opinion, I put it at somewhere around like 20%. At most. On the Republican side, I would say easily probably as their top couple of issues, I would say definitely 80% of Republicans that's an issue that they care about. But on the Democratic side, I don't think it's that high on most Democratic voters' lists. That's just my from my vantage point, which I'm wondering for the audience, like, come on, y'all, give us some percentages. And so I would say overall, if you combine the Republicans and Democrats, not factoring in Roe v. Wade, I put it as 30%, and that's counting in Republicans, which would weigh it in very heavily.
Issues, the individual issues are going to vary from election to election of order of importance, right?
Agreed.
It's cyclical, but it is not something that they don't think about, because ever since I can remember, that has been something I hear about every single election cycle. It's never not mentioned. It doesn't necessarily have to be the main focus, but it is always something that they use as a tactic to either get people to motivate people to the election one way or the other. One side is saying all of these devil people want to kill your babies and sell body parts, so come and vote to prevent that. Then you got the other side that says, oh, they want to control a woman's body and they want to tell me what to do with my body. It's my body, my choice. We have slogans almost every single election cycle. I don't disagree. Hold on, let me finish. And then even if you think about it, the Democratic Party is really trying to maximize the woman vote, especially this particular cycle. This is one of the major things. I don't want to say that all women, that is their only thing they're concerned about, because it is not, but it is one of the things that is on their list. It's not the only driver, but it is a main driver to the polls. And I'm just saying, if you remove that issue altogether, voter turnout changes. As long as it's nothing major like a 9/11 or a Roe v. Wade type of situation, it's a main driver. And if you take that off, you don't know what you're going to do to your voting base.
Well, if I was just that, and that's what I'm saying. Yes, I agree. It's definitely an issue that's brought up on every election. But growing up in a red state, because that's like damn near number one for the right, and so because that is such a big deal for them, you have the pushback from the other side. And that's the only now I have a hard time believing that if abortion wasn't the issue, that another issue wouldn't just supplement that. I believe that it would be very easy to supplement another issue that it would get people inflamed about, and they would still be at the polls. I just don't believe that they need it, that it's like kind of some fabricated thing that they're doing to get people to the polls. I believe that the people on both sides.
It's fabricated in that they had opportunities to fix it twice, at least in the last, from 2008, they had a chance. From
I don't
2020,
disagree.
they had a chance. They chose not to do it. What does that tell me politically? Politically, it says, nah, B, we can't do this, because then what else they gonna come and vote for us for? So we're not gonna shoot ourselves in the foot and then try to run a race. We're gonna leave this right here as a tool, as a motivator.
Well, that's what I'm. That's where I just disagree with the calculation a little. I just think that they really,
when you had the chance,
because there's a lot of things that they didn't get done that they had the chance to do. You don't have the chance to get every single thing done, and if this thing is not your top priority, you probably aren't going to get it done.
So we had a healthcare bill.
But what I'm saying is, for the right, that is a top priority to get done. For the left, it wasn't a top priority. That's why it didn't get done.
But you campaign on telling us you need to vote for me because the other side is going to take this away from you. So you put me in office. I don't do anything for it. The other side comes in, they do something about it, and then what am I going to say? See, look, they did something about it. Put me back in so we can fix this, so we can correct this. Hey, if you don't see it as a tactic, a fundraising tool, and all the rest of it to keep people participating in the voting, that's cool. That's how I see it, because they could have fixed this long ago.
Well, what I'm saying is that a pillar of their campaign that they have to be for? Yes. Do I believe that at any point that the Democrats thought that the Republicans would ever succeed on doing this? No. I don't believe at any point they ever felt the Republicans would ever succeed in changing anything. Therein is why I feel like now they actually do care. They're like, oh, okay, actually now we got to do something, because now, crap, they did come after us and they cared about it. Because I think that they believe Republicans were not. I think that the Democrats made the calculation that if the Republicans did this, this would be a political loser for them. It's a poison pill. So there's no way that they're going to actually go through with it. That's what I legitimately believe. I believe that they did not take the threat serious, regardless of what they said. I believe they did not take that threat seriously at any point.
Well, they watched all of these Supreme Court judges be put on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but at that point it was too late. At that point it was too late. When you agree, at that point it was too late. Once they got those judges in there.
But you, as a political somebody who's supposed to be, trying to read the future for the Democratic Party, you're supposed to be looking and saying, well, damn, there's a chance that we may not have these numbers again. Things happen. Why don't we do it now? They made a political calculation not to. Why not include it into the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare? Why not just say, hey, we're going to do this. We'll try to codify, blah, 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 blah. They didn't do it. They didn't rely on Republicans to get that passed.
Well, the reason why, and perfect example, what did Trump say right after Roe versus Wade was repealed?
What did he? I don't know.
He said, "This is a political loser." He literally said that we probably have screwed ourselves. And a lot of Republicans admitted like they didn't want to actually do they felt like they wouldn't actually do it. And Republicans even wink nod, yeah, we're gonna tell our pro-life people that we're fighting for, but we're not ever really gonna do it because we know if we do it, it's a political loser. Because that's going to fire up the other side to now go against us. And there's far more people who would be pro-choice that would come out for the Democrats. And they felt and they felt like we'll make our money, we'll campaign, but we'll never actually do it. And I think because they've had, I mean, what would we say, what 1960 is what everybody said. So this has been the law of the land for like 75 years. If for 75 years the Republicans had never did it, why would you think that they are going to do it now?
Also,
well, I don't know if that's 70. I got to do my math. I don't know if that's 75 years, but you get what I'm saying.
The Republicans also they got rid of Roe v. Wade, right? And they're still campaigning. They're still campaigning, raising funds on keeping abortion illegal. You know what I'm saying? So again, you would think like, hey, we did this. It's no longer here in the Supreme Court. You would think, all right, job is done. Let me stop talking about it. I did what I was supposed to do. But they too are still using
50 something years. Sorry, 50 something years.
Yeah, but
73.
Still,
but I well now
using
now
it as a political. They're still using it as a political motivator, as a motivating factor, just like the other side is. It's just not.
What I'm saying is
no future in fixing it.
Well, what
There's
I'm
no
saying
future
is
in doing that.
What I'm saying is the political what is it? The people who are the pro-life and the pro-choice, those are movements. Those are donors who are going to push for something for one side or the other side. I believe now pressure is on Democrats to have to do something if they can get that power back, because they will lose support from pro-life people. I mean, from the pro-choice movement, they will lose. So they don't have a choice. And so now they've traded to put themselves in the position that the Republicans were in for the longest, to let's like fake like we're going to get it done. I don't agree with that.
Yo, they said
they still got a whole bunch of other issues that they can run on. There is no shortage of issues to run on.
Look, again, Democrats, in the states where most of Democrats are, people are in favor of legalizing weed. They're not running over themselves on the federal level to legalize marijuana. I mean, they just actually did remove it from, I think, the class 1, but they stopped short of just removing the issue altogether, right?
Yeah, so because they can still lock people up.
That's what I'm saying. They're not ever going to fix the abortion thing, because it's going to drive people to vote for them, to continue to vote. They need people to believe in the system so that it keeps going. The more people who believe and who don't believe and separate themselves from the system, that is what will enable it to crumble within itself. The constant participation is what gives it validation.
I agree, but I don't feel like that one issue being taken off the map, and it wouldn't be taken off the map. It can't be taken off the map either way, because even if they did get it codified into law, that's not going to stop the pro-life movement from still continuing to try to fight to overturn it. And the issue wouldn't go away either way. You would still have that as a motivator for people on the right to go out and try to stop it. And the only thing, like when you brought up the weed thing, you have donors on both sides of the party on the weed thing. That's what I'm saying. That's the one issue where I feel like that's the one issue that's not a bipartisan issue. The Democrats are for this, the Republicans are clearly for that. Whereas every other issue, they got Democrats and Republicans on both sides. They got Democrats and Republicans on oil. They got Second Amendment Democrats and Republicans. They got who want healthcare issues or who don't want healthcare. There's on both issues. That's the only issue where the Democrats say this is our issue, Republicans say this is our issue. And so I think that there's still I just say even if we take that one off the board, that's not going to be the crux that would, you know, delegitimize the system. They would just funnel all that energy to something else.
It would just be very noticeable that you can't run on that anymore. So then I think it becomes a little less predictable as to where you draw the lines. That's all. That's all it does. So as someone, if you want to keep your herd in check, you would make sure you continue to do certain things to keep your herd moving in a certain direction.
Because the Republicans will just start saying, "Oh, well, they're fighting against Christianity." That's what if the conservatives got a complete ban, they got a complete ban. That's what it would turn to. It's the war on Christmas, all that other stuff. That's what it would turn to, and they would just find another issue that is not as politically salient at the moment, and then push that to the next issue. Because once you get one thing checked off your list, then you go for the other stuff. I just don't believe that the powers that be focus as much or care as much on culture war. I think culture war is the only thing that they say, here, you guys can fight on this. We don't really care how it lands, as long as we still get our tax cuts.
The culture war, obviously that's never going to go away, you know.
That's all I'm saying. They'll always find something else. There's no shortage of things that they could find to prop up if that wasn't an issue.
Yeah, I just think that is a solidifying issue, especially amongst women, especially in this particular race. I'm interested in seeing the breakdown of the voters and what they say was most important. Most of the women that I meet are like, oh, I really care about reproductive rights. I care about abortion. He has turned many women into this cycle has turned a lot more women into single issue voters than were before.
I agree, but I think that he knew that this was going to happen. This is one of the cons or whatever to getting it done.
But this is why I say it's a game that both of them played to keep people stuck in their system. So the right will do something stupid like remove Roe versus Wade. You know that's going to light a fire on the other side, and they're going to be hyped to vote. And on the other side,
but I think that they were held at hostage by so many more. Like, I feel like right now, currently, the Republican Party, you have far more pro-lifers that are in office right now, and they're demanding it. And you can only, I don't think that you can get away from that demand. The heat is on you to a point where, like, yo, you got to do it now. And I think that they were making the calculation. If we do it, this could be political suicide. But the pro-lifers were to the point where they like, we don't give a damn. You're going to do it anyway.
This is
because if you feel like you're killing a baby, if you feel like this is killing a baby, and that's just how you see it, you're not going to care about the consequences politically.
They just like the other side, they want to keep hyping up trans rights and like that. What is that going to do? It's going to get the other side motivated to come out to want to vote against this. So whenever you say things like, what is a woman, and you can't respond, that's going to make the other side come out and want to be like, see, we got to get these people out of here. They're weirdos, etc., etc. So they both use, just like how on the legislative level of things, just like how one party can't get something done, the other one does it for them, and vice versa. Same thing with pushing people to vote. One side does something to make sure that their opposition, supposed opposition, comes out to vote. And both of them do it at the same time. So, not talking about the reproduction crisis, the drop in fertility, and abortion as the same issue is responsible. Not talking about the
Is
reproduction
irresponsible.
and abortion as the same. Yeah, they're not the, and clearly those are
But
not
I
all
don't. But I don't
the
look
same
at
issue.
the.
Because
I
we
don't
know
see-
that some people on the right do want to ban abortion because they fully see that they're in a crisis in terms of their numbers.
Well,
And
that's the
also,
reason why. Yeah, I would say I tie those issues all entwined on the right, whereas that's not the same issue on the left. And because more of the people on the left, especially a lot more of these women, are focused on, I'm worried about my career. Honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, I hate to be, I'm worried about my career and what I want to do. And so I don't give a damn if I had a baby. I wanted the right to be able to get rid of this baby and go chase my career. And I feel like they're not worried about the drop in, let's just call it straight. I'm gonna call it straight. We're not worried about the drop in white male population or white population. Whereas on the right, I feel that is a concern. That's the reason why the abortion issue is so salient with a lot of them over there. Now, some of them, because they're Catholics or evangelicals, they feel like it's killing a baby. But some of them, it's about population and looking at the white population declining in the Western Hemisphere.
They want to limit the amount of white women in their sphere from having the option to get an abortion.
That's why I'm saying that. That's what I'm saying. It's more
outright
political.
And if they
that's
can't ban it outright, then they'll just make it extremely difficult, or it'll be costly to do so, because they would like to try to grow their numbers, but this is not how you go about it. Even where this discussion is ridiculous, because you should be talking about trying to create a situation that fosters people to want to have children, opposed to thinking about, oh, can I afford this? No, abortion. Same thing on the other side. You know what I mean?
That's why I say I think it's one of the few issues that is actually an issue where these people really care about it on the voter level, because that's something they can see as a change or not as a change. I don't think when it's coming to any of these issues, any of these other issues outside of tax breaks for the wealthy, where there's actually any there or actual change. They don't see it as far as the money that's being shipped to all these wars. They don't see it as far as weapon systems and contracts being bought. They don't see it in so many other issues. I feel like this is the only issue that they've given to the American people where they can see something actually change in their day-to-day life. You got to have at least one issue that's a somewhat issue that actually does affect you directly.
Yeah, of course. Like I say, they need validation more than anything. So they're always going to put these issues up to, hype it up. And like I said, it was just noticeable that I've never seen a commercial like that in my life, where they ran a political commercial like this, where they had black men in a barbershop discussing about where they should move, that they need to be cognizant of where they move in life, because they may not have women's rights there, or that they are trying to strip away women's rights. I've never seen a commercial like that ever. And all I'm saying is this.
Yeah. They made it an issue. They made it an issue once they repealed it. And once you got some of them true believers on the Supreme Court, it was bound to happen. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part we agree. Just I don't. The only thing that I slightly disagree, this is my only point of contention, I don't feel that the powers that be intentionally did this for the other side. I feel the Republicans felt pressure and decided we're the dog that caught the car, and so fuck it, we got to do what we got to do. And I felt like the Democratic side literally felt like the Republicans aren't crazy enough to actually do this and give it to us. That's the only thing I think. That's my only calculation. Whereas in reverse, you kind of made the calculation that no, this was intentionally done to provoke the other side.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
Which I mean, I don't know because if there's any way. There's no way to.
If you didn't do this, what like the polls would be extremely, 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 extremely lopsided at even their polls.
But
not that I care about polls, but they always try to push these polls that tell us like, oh, the race is really close. It's within 2 points. It's within a point and a half here. I think if the Republicans left it alone, had left the status quo right now, the polls, their own polls would show, oh shit, we facing a major blowout, man. Like, what we gonna do?
I don't think so. Well, the reason why I don't think so is because if you just look at the demographics of a lot of the Democratic cities, the demographics alone in most of those areas of people who kind of lean more to the left is higher than people who lean to the right. Of registered voters, I would say it's higher. So therefore, the Democrats, if anything, would have more of an advantage than people on the right.
In those same few cities, outside of that, and those would go the same way they always go, right?
But I won't even say just those few cities. I mean, for instance, you literally had Kansas switch and flip blue before. You had Obama? North Carolina. You had North Carolina flip.
For Obama.
Not only Obama. Trying to think, did they go blue for Biden? Yeah, I think Kansas went blue for Biden, and that's because the overwhelming population that you have in Kansas City and Wichita. If you're able to win most of that, that'll trump the rest of the state. The same thing that happens in Illinois, and the same thing that can happen for Wisconsin, because that's what happens in Wisconsin. You got most of the vote in like Milwaukee and somewhere else that it trumped over the rest of the state. And so if turnout drops a little in those couple of areas, then you lose the whole state. And so if you are able, that's how that's how Georgia went blue, by getting enough votes in Atlanta alone that it suppresses the rest of the state.
And my opinion is about 2020. That completely fraudulent election.
In theory, don't get the string taken down.
Yeah. In theory, there was an issue with some numbers in certain cases. So I just think with that one, I think the outliers would be 07 and 20 for the two big things that were happening at the moment.
See, I look at what they did instead of that issue to get people to vote the other way. They managed to just choose candidates that were so detestable that it gave the other side a better advantage, a better chance. For instance, if they would have put a Bernie Sanders up there with the policy that he was voting for, the Republicans, I don't think would have had a chance. But they weren't going to put him up there with that platform that he was saying, whether he got it done or not. They weren't going to put him up there with that platform because it would have been a blowout against the Republicans. And that's how they keep it close, by putting up a detestable candidate. They put up Hillary, which was horrible, and they knew that. Think about it. If Obama could have ran a third time, I think Obama would have won again. And at that point, he had lost a lot of his luster. I think he still would have won.
2016?
Yeah. I think he still would have won. In all honesty, if we didn't have any kind of term limits and he could have ran 5 times in a row, Obama would probably be still president right now.
I'd say, yeah, that's over 50% chance of that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And so they made sure to choose political losers as candidates to keep the race close. Because when it comes down to it, the people who are going to be pro-choice, for the most part, are going to be the same people, and they're going to come out for the Democrats every single time, regardless. And the same thing with the right. The only thing is, can it swing a little bit on the margins when you do something huge like this? Yeah. But I felt like it's just the horrendous candidates that you had is what made it happen this way. I don't even know who would be a better option right now. I really don't. Y'all can tell us. Honestly, I put it this way. If Jill Stein was able to have the platform that Kamala has right now, as far as getting fair coverage on the media, getting plenty of access and talking, I think she would blow both of these candidates out of the water.
I think Cynthia McKinney would as well.
Agreed. That's a good one. Yeah, Cynthia McKinney could.
You know, black.
I think Nina Turner could.
Here's another criticism I have for black women who are heavily into the Democratic Party politics. You will love a Kamala. You will love all of these goofy women of color in the Democratic Party. But if I was to tell you, well, Cynthia McKinney's a stand-up woman, you would tell me, shut up. I don't know what I'm talking about. And you would pay Cynthia McKinney no mind. So it's just like, you know, just like with hip hop, they only like the doofy, goofy broads. They don't like the girls who can actually rap.
Well, you got to remember, they're only allowing them to see the ones that can be controlled. I made that argument about a lot of black people that you see in the media in general. If they can't be controlled, you will not see them on those platforms.
Yeah, and you know, everybody got a cousin or somebody who's telling them something else. So even though I firmly believe that a lot of people are sharing bad information amongst each other, there's somebody somewhere in their circles who is sharing some other information that would be beneficial to them, and they have just tuned it out because they are so deep into their party and their party's ideology that they will not entertain it. It's a sad state, but it's the same thing goes on the right for Republicans too, right? They're in this sorry state as well. But I'm not as concerned about those people as I am about, you know, the women in my community, because they are very loud and they are very proud about their political stance, and that shit is wrong so much of the time, especially lately. Ladies, please calm down. Seriously,
I've just kind of given up. I'm not running into probably some of the battles that you are either. So, I
just seeing and hearing it, and it's just like I just have to shake my head. I don't even get into it. I just hear it. You know, I'm taking it in, pause, and it's just not. It's not good because it's almost like virtually the same exact talking points from all of these regular people who are not politically like into this shit like this. And they're also, it's just like COVID all over again, the same talking points. It's like, I know what you're watching, I know what you're reading, and I'm telling you that is meant to make you feel this way. You should consider other options. I mean, I did that during COVID and nobody listened. So now I don't even bother, but I just hear it, and it's just like, ooh, not good.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, yeah, like, I guess that's all I got. It's like, stop being Angela Rise. Be more Cynthia McKinney.
That ain't gonna happen. They're gonna have to get burned. They're gonna have to get burned a couple more times before they get there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or the Cynthia or the Angela Rise. When you get to that level, you're paid to be that way. So
yeah, it is. So there's a fight tonight. Canelo's fighting tonight.
I'm ready to catch. I'm catching the other fights. Not only he's fighting,
but he's the main draw tonight. So there's boxing matches on tonight. I don't have nobody.
Who else?
I don't have the main. I don't have the whole card.
Erislandy Lara is fighting Danny Garcia.
Okay, Danny Garcia is fighting again. Erislandy Lara.
Caleb Plant is fighting.
Okay.
Rolly Romero is back. Fulton is fighting. Oh, yeah, some decent people on there.
All right, so they put together a solid card. I know a lot of those names. If you follow boxing, you all will know some of those names as well. So it's an interesting night of boxing. More than likely, not more than likely, this is going to be on pay-per-view. If you go to Amazon, you could probably order through there. But that's about it. Oh, I also wanted to say that
8 a.m. Wait a minute, is a fight tomorrow morning? Oh no,
could be.
next Saturday morning. You got Dubois versus Anthony Joshua.
You see, Angel Reese got hurt, so Caitlin Clark most likely is going to win the MVP.
Yeah, which Caitlin Clark right now, all the right wingers are pissed at her. Did you hear?
Yeah, everybody who was mad at her are idiots. It was the right wingers are mad because she liked Taylor Swift's post. I don't even think she said anything. She just liked Taylor Swift post, and they're all like, "Oh, you're whack, you're whack, you're whack." So
it was their excuse. It was their excuse to attack a black woman. That's all. She was their vehicle to attack black. That's all it is.
And the sad part is, like, beyond that, I'm just looking at them from a basketball standpoint. It was never close. Caitlin was always the superior player, and then people had to make it about race, and it was just like, damn, can't we just keep it about ball? And it's
I always look at, they got different games though. They got different games. You got one who's more
Angel Reese is
more of a
layups.
post player. One's more of a post player. One's more of an outside shoot or just shooter in general.
Angel Reese was missing layups so she could get the rebound. Her shooting percentage is in the 30s. She has work to do, and she had a great year in that she hustled and worked hard. But there's no way that I'm looking at her as a basketball player and looking at Caitlin as a basketball player and then saying that they are close, because they are not. And it would be blasphemous as a basketball person to say that. So people were in their emotions over race about this, and they made it a racial issue instead of a basketball issue. And there was a lot of foul shit being said on the right, you know, about Angel Reese and things like that. But I'm keeping it to basketball. There was no conversation. And even the black people on the other side of that was making it about race, and they were saying extremely stupid things. So on both sides, it was a bunch of immature, emotional people saying the most stupid shit, none of which was actually about the sport of basketball. It was just about the color of these girls. And it just ruined, it really ruined what should have been a better received season, even though a bunch of people watched, they set records and all this other stuff. But if people would have just kept it on basketball and they didn't get into the emotions about the color of one's skin, then it would have made for a much better conversation. But so now, whenever you say what I'm saying, it's deemed as controversial, or that I'm with the white girls for saying this. No, I'm a basketball player. I was watching basketball. One looks way better playing basketball than the other one does. End of story. Oh, it just so happened the one that looks better playing basketball is white. So what? It shouldn't fucking matter. And I just
it shouldn't matter either. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't watch enough of their games to be able to even measure them. So I'll just be honest.
It's funny. Angel Reese was averaging a bunch of rebounds, and people are like, "Oh, she should be Rookie of the Year for the rebound." I'm like, okay, Dennis Rodman was killing the NBA in rebounds. Did anyone at any time ever consider Dennis Rodman MVP status for being the rebound king? No, never. We've never done that in college. We've never done that in high school. You don't do it in elementary leagues at all. So again, the media behind it hyping this shit up because they know black and white always is good for ratings. I hate that they did this, yo.
Yeah.
I hate that they did it because they just made the discourse all over the place. And what's her name? Cheryl Swoops, legendary WNBA player Cheryl Swoops, who has a hell of a career, MVPs, championships, college championships. She has Olympic gold medals. She is on TV and on the internet making a total fool out of herself behind this. And it's like, damn, shorty, you supposed to know something, but you too caught up in this racial shit. and you messed it up as well. So now it has people like me looking at you like you're a goofy, and we should not be looking at you like anything other than the legendary basketball player that you are. But you want to play into this shit. It was trash. Most the racist white people's takes, and then the defensive black people takes about Angel Reese, all of it was bad. All of it was bad, and all of you participated in that. You're trash too.
All right. And yes, I definitely did enjoy John Stockton and Malone. I love the days of the 90s basketball. I definitely loved it and missed it. And it's always close place in my heart. But that said, y'all all have a great and wonderful night. To those who got money on those fights, be careful what you're betting. Hopefully you don't lose your shirt. Nahilo Nostrum says, good show tonight. Thank you. Much appreciated. Anybody catching us for the first time, I appreciate y'all. And for all y'all who showed so much love coming out, checking out those last couple of videos, much appreciated. And just know that you're always welcome to hop into the conversation. We enjoy having the back and forth in here and hearing the different perspectives and views. And that's the only way you can get to the nuance of the issues, is to talk about this stuff and go into it. And so we live for this shit. We love it. You know, we love y'all. We love each other. Not on no funny shit.
I hope you're just joking, though.
What?
He said, I threw a tip, but I just got fired. I hope you didn't. And like, I hope you didn't.
Damn, yeah. Ugh, damn, I hope not. But
I hope that's just your dark humor.
Yeah, hopefully. Or if that is the case, prayers that you get something else real quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yo,
don't want to hear nothing about nobody struggling out there. I mean, I know.
Oh, damn, laid off. Damn.
Oh, damn. Sorry to hear that.
Word.
That's rough. I've been there before.
Well, I hope you, I'm hoping it works out for you sooner than later, because, that later is like, oof. By the time you get the gig, you're like, yeah, I got a gig, but I'm so far behind that I'm still super depressed because I'm getting paid and, bills is going to yesterday and I still got to live today. And what about tomorrow? So yeah, that's a tough place to be. So I hope it works out for you sooner than later. Seriously.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're a person of faith, but I am, and I'll put one up for you. Hopefully that helps. And for everybody else, man, I hope y'all have a blessed and safe weekend. Much love to y'all. So it was a constructive dismissal plus unjust dismissal, but there's subjectivity. But thank you.
And so then it sounds like you know what's going on, and sounds like you'll seem like you're sharp enough to make it work for you. It's just in that moment where it happens, it just sucks.
Yeah. And in good spirits. And shout out to those friends on the Rockfin side too. Much love to all of y'all and everybody who's listening from Facebook. Oh yeah, update I want to put. I've been talking to a friend of the show, Indy, and going to work on possibly trying to expand over to Rumble. I know some of y'all have been talking about it. Rumble and maybe even Kick, but I'm not super technological, so I'm gonna see how much I can do of that before I promise y'all anything. And once I can get the hang of setting this stuff up, look out for it. So if some of y'all prefer being on checking out Rumble, then cool. Just putting that out there.
Yeah, it's tough. I was just listening about Rumble too, but I was listening to people talk business about Rumble, but on levels that was like way above our heads. So it's very interesting. Rumble is interesting. Mm-hmm. And they still got the dude in Telegram. They still got him locked up, right?
Yeah.
Damn. This is crazy, man. Shit just different era. Different era. I mean, I guess it's all the same, just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Same but different. All right. Well, everybody who came through, hit the like or dislike button. Just let us know you watched. If you didn't participate in the comment, you could leave one. But either way, we were just like, your feedback is always cool. It's much appreciated. All
Yeah,
right.
if y'all watching
Enjoy.
this later, definitely leave comments, on the different points, because if there's areas where we need it, where you want to add in something to this conversation, please do it. Comments help. I mean, especially like if you get, like you said before, if you can't tip, then a thumbs up goes a long way. And even if you just refer people to the channel, say, hey man, check them out. I mean, they seem okay. Good stream. I like what they were talking about. If you're interested, check us out. So just word of mouth, likes, shares, comments, all of those go a long way. So much appreciation to all y'all. Be blessed, hopefully not stressed. And there's been a Political Matrix. I'm Young Morpheus, here with my brother, Mr. Cy Lawson, and we
Yes,
are the
sir.
Political Matrix.
All right, guys, have a good one. Peace out.